Flight Sports TV, man. That's my dude. I rolls with him.
You heard what the man said. It's Flight Sports TV.
Flight Sports TV, that's where it's at.
Flight Sports TV.
What's going on, people? It's Flight Sports TV. I appreciate y'all for checking with me. You already know what it is. We back with another one of them things. Yo, man, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. It's just such an unbelievable situation. It's crazy. This night off of what the heck is going on? You know, to the fact that we just get a night off of basketball. This is very unusual, but nonetheless, here we are. I definitely today, I want to give people a preview, a little insight, if you will, into the game tomorrow, the importance of these next couple of games. Obviously, you have one game against the Wizards, and then you have another game against the Wizards right after, but that's the in-season tournament game, the first ever in-season tournament game for Lamelo and the Charlotte Hornets. That should be a very interesting ball game, but we don't want to move too far ahead. We have to get to the game tomorrow, which is first a regular season game against the Wizards. And the Charlotte Hornets have been trending in an upwards trajectory. I'm pretty sure you guys have all seen. We all have to get into it. Lamelo seems to has found his swagger. You know, Melo kind of was coasting a little bit. I wouldn't say that he regressed. A lot of people was taking it to the next level. You know, I would have loved to see Melo get that W with that triple-double that he scored on Luka and them. But it is what it is. What we're seeing from Melo is him getting his swagger back, refining his game, and showing us the next evolution of LaMelo Ball. You understand, of being a complete basketball player. That's what we are witnessing right now, right before our very eyes. And it's very interesting to see because a lot of people tried to put LaMelo Ball in a box. You know, he's this, he's that. And every single time we get an opportunity to see LaMelo Ball, he has transcended his game to heights we've never seen before. You know, the obvious rehabilitation process slowed it down because he probably would have came out the gate wilding out like he's doing now. To believe it or not, he's trending right in the right time. Could you imagine? You know, this is a perfect storm. Melo trending right, and God willing, they get these two games, go 500. We're going to get into it. And then here come Miles Bridges. You know, now you talking. Now you talking. The Charlotte Hornets ain't too far away, ladies and gentlemen, and LaMelo Ball will be the key catalyst. He is the star player. He is the number one option. You know, LaMelo is not only scoring and facilitating, which we already know he can do. You know, a lot of people tried to, you know, slow down his facilitation when he came into the league. But boy, oh boy, that has slowly slowed down. But you know, what he's doing now defensively, I think, is winning basketball. This is showing me that he's going to do whatever it takes to win and be successful. This is what it proves to me. LaMelo Ball is willing to do whatever and put it all on the line to be successful for the Charlotte Hornets. And we are going to see it firsthand. This season is definitely now or never. Mitch Kupchak and company has already told the fan base that everything is within the system, and now it's time for LaMelo Ball to maximize this system. We got to get guys to hit shots as well because we got a lot of guys missing wide open threes on penetration. That's a serious issue because in this league you have a lot of that, and it seems like the teams that could do it the best, who can hit those threes, are the ones that win these games. So LaMelo Ball and the Hornets, they really need to do some soul searching, and when Melo kicks it out to these guys, they got to make sure they hit these goddamn shots. Is definitely a couple of guys you can count on. Give major props to Gordon Hayward. I'm very pleased with his performance. I know you got teams calling, Gordon Hayward, like I said, people was calling him Mr. Glass, but now I've changed it all. I'm calling him Mr. Reliable. He has definitely been one of the more reliable players for LaMelo Ball, a guy that he can count on in tough, dire situations. This is what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. The Charlotte Hornets have definitely, they could have definitely won some of these games. They let some of them slip away for whatever the reasons that is. But nonetheless, it's now or never. Like I stated before, the Charlotte Hornets could very well get out to a 500 record, and that's what it's all about. The Hornets must do that right now. They're 13th in the Eastern Conference. It's still early. With these next two games, they'll go 4-4. And that's all you can really ask for Charlotte. And then, like I said, the games start ratcheting up, because after that, you in the Garden, which is not going to be easy. And this is this Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, because we got the Wizards, and then we got the Wizards again Friday, and then they in the Garden, then they got Miami, so, and then we should see the return of Miles Bridges. But it's key that you win these next two games against the Washington Wizards. And I'm not trying to screw over the Washington Wizards like they just nothing, but they are 1-5. You cannot allow Washington to propel and jumpstart their season off of the backs of the Charlotte Hornets. That would be detrimental. That would be horrifying if something like that was to take place. The Charlotte Hornets must take matters and their destiny into their own hands, and it's going to be key if they can do that. Like I said, I can't stress enough how important these next two games are for Charlotte. A lot of people feel like maybe it's not. It's still early. I'm telling you, the Charlotte Hornets, the situation can spiral out of control. I just told you that they have stiff, serious competition ahead. They must take care of the Washington Wizards with them being 1-5 and them struggling, not knowing what they're going to do. They having injuries early. They don't know what's happening. Listen, the Charlotte Hornets are trending right. The Wizards are not. They have to go in there and handle business. Can the Hornets do that? You can't go toe-to-toe with Dallas and get blown out by Washington. These are the things that you have to think about. If you are a Hornets fan, if you are a LaMelo Ball fan, as he transcends into this next level of leadership that we are witnessing with our first eyewitness. They have a home game. You have to protect the Hive. I can't stress this enough because we don't know what's going to happen in Washington. We want to hope that they win both of these games, but at the very least, can they get a split? And I think that's not really going to cut it. I think they need to beat Washington. They need to handle the Wizards. But I don't know if that's going to be the case. Washington has some talent. Jordan Poole, they are looking. He didn't come to Washington to mess around. Like I said before, they got young guys out there that's flying all over the place. But still, Charlotte is clearly showing that they could do something. And I expect them to dominate Washington. And then let's see if they can go into that in-season tournament. That's going to be a chaotic atmosphere. Have we ever seen LaMelo Ball in a situation like that? Could you imagine? That'll be the closest thing that we've seen to a playoff setting. Well, pardon me, you've seen the play-in, but I would say the closest that we've seen in some time, because last year was a wash. I think a situation like that could propel Charlotte and get them there. I want to hope that the Charlotte Hornets, these younger teams, use these competitive atmospheres to their advantage, and every game should be an in-season tournament game, because they all matter. You understand? You have to get to the playoffs at all costs. If you Charlotte, you have if you're Lamelo, you have other young players in your draft class that are experiencing some playoff glory, that look like they will be experiencing playoff glory. You got to get to the playoffs at all goddamn cost, because I think that's when Lamelo is going to shine the brightest, when the games are more crucial. You've seen it already. I mean, could you imagine a playoff setting where Lamelo goes toe-to-toe with a Damian Lillard or something like that? With the right matchup, they might beat somebody. What if they match up in a 4-5 with the New York Knicks? I'm just talking a little too crazy. Maybe they might not get that far up there. But let's say the Knicks struggling and they got to get to the play-in. LaMelo got to go to the Garden. Could you imagine? We want to see that. We want to see LaMelo in crucial, tough games. We want to show. We want to prove to the world what this man is truly capable of. But it's hard to do that when the Hornets are playing in not meaningful games, where the games don't really matter. The season is over before we know it. Shit has to change. And why not this season for the change to happen? And it starts with these 2 games against the Washington Wizards. Because if they lose these next 2 games, which is so crazy, you can't rule nothing out with Charlotte. We want to have hope. We want to believe. But at the end of the day, it's Charlotte. And they have this stigma that they have to fight out of. They have this stigma that they have to shake out of and propel them into a new day. And they haven't done that just yet. We've seen Detroit looking like they was going to do it. They've experienced some injuries. There's some infighting going on. We'll get into that a little bit later. They look like they slowing down a little bit. I think Charlotte, they could start trending right if they could get these next 2 games. You get to a 500 record, you rise in the standings, and then you just continue to go. I think that they could beat New York in New York. The Knicks have been struggling, and that's going to be an afternoon matinee matchup. LaMelo is going to go crazy in the Garden. The atmosphere is going to be crazy for him. But then that game against the Miami Heat, all bets are off. And it gets tougher. You got Boston on the schedule. You got Milwaukee on the schedule. So it's not going to get any easier for the Charlotte Hornets. They have to seize their opportunity right now. Otherwise, we're going to be having a whole nother conversation. But quickly, I want to discuss LaMelo Ball defensively. I think that's a situation where if he could take that to the next level, I think the Hornets could definitely get to where they need to get to a lot faster. And if you have LaMelo doing these things, you have an anchor already with Mark Williams. We're going to get into Mr. Mark Williams. Mark Williams is a complete animal. You understand? I don't know if people giving this dude the proper homage. That homage must be paid. This guy, Mark Williams, is a complete beast. I'm going to be real with you. I thought he was good. I didn't know this guy has the potential to be a top center in this league as he continues to get better and better. And alongside LaMelo, man, the sky's the limit. When we was covering the last game, I said, listen, anytime Mark Williams get the ball around the basket, just count it. Because it's just automatic. This man cannot be stopped. And this man is already dominating defensively. These guys got to think twice before they bring that shit inside the paint. And if you have LaMelo harassing and all over and jumping in the passing lanes and playing defense, now you're talking a whole nother conversation, and then you get Miles back. This guy Miles is like the Swiss Army knife, and like I said, he's going to be chomping at the bit. And it's good to bring another guy like that in who can relieve pressure off of Brandon. I think that Miles is not, a lot of people think Miles is coming to get his money and screw everybody else. But I don't think people understand the level of heat that's going to alleviate off Brandon Miller. Brandon Miller has already proved to be one of the better rookies in this draft class. I know it sounds crazy because you have Victor Wembanyama, who is just 30 times, better than everybody else in the draft class. It's like, who the hell cares about anybody else? But Brandon Miller has definitely been balling, and he needs to be respected for his play. And I think that once Miles gets back, Miles is going to feed him. Miles know he got to be on his best behavior, not only being a leader for this team, but he knows that he has to acquiesce. And what better way for him to come here and unlock Brandon Miller's game? The Airbnb connection between Lamelo was spectacular. It's two parties in that. Obviously, Lamelo being just an unbelievable passer. His court vision is superb. And then you got Miles, his high flying ability, his aggressive nature around the rim. I mean, it's just like I said, and then he even started expanding his game to being a consistent three-point shooter. Ladies and gentlemen, Miles Bridges was the leading scorer. It was only by a little bit. Lamelo was right on his heels, but statistically, he was the leading scorer for the Charlotte Hornets. So you telling me they are missing the leading scorer, a guy who Lamelo is going to feed and he's going to feast. This is what's missing for the Charlotte Hornets, and they need to get their star player back because Miles Bridges was knocking on the door of an all-star berth. We only 10 games in. Miles is going to give this team an added boost. And I just want, listen, you talking about Miles alongside Mark. I don't think people understand the weaponry that the Hornets have potentially if all things can come together. We are looking at a new day for Charlotte because of the people that they have. Like, I don't remember them ever having a center like Mark Will, even in the Kemba days. They've tried guys out, and this guy Mark Williams is the center for the future. And I know they're not going to be thinking about moving him, but this man has unbelievable trade, revenue. So could you imagine if a situation presents itself with a Joel Embiid or something? I don't want to talk too soon, but I'm just saying. Mark Williams is leading the league in field goal percentage as well, if I'm not mistaken. So, and like I told you, anytime around the rim, just count it. He cannot be stopped around the basket. It's just truly spectacular what we are witnessing. And now against Washington, clearly they have some decent, players out there, but Mark Williams should be able to continue to feast and dominate and prove that he's one of the top young players in the game of basketball. I want to know, he's one of the best players in that draft class if you start to think about it. Mark Williams has definitely shown that he is taking his game especially as a young player, taking his game to the next level, y'all, because the Hornets have not had success in the draft. Lamelo fell out the sky. If you could do that draft all over, maybe probably they still roll with Edwards, because I don't know what the heck is going on, but it is what it is. But I think Golden State takes him, and then what if they end up with Wiseman? So it looked like Charlotte has definitely been excellent in the draft, but they haven't. They've had some misses, and they've had some misses with LaMelo. You got these guys. I hope they all work out, because these are draft picks that you want to see do something, like the Amari Bailey's, the developmental plan for this man. He's going to be in the G League, y'all. We will be monitoring the situation for the Greensboro Swarm. We know Jello is not there, but there are players that they're going to be rotating in and out, the Nick Smith Juniors, but Bailey for sure. And we want to see how these guys pan out, because these are supposed to be LaMelo Ball's counterparts for the next couple of years. Bryce McGowan's, how does he develop? I'm not really feeling Bryce McGowan's. You got Book Knight. You do have some, and he hasn't even played this season. So not only is he regressed, he hasn't been progressing. He had a horrible summer league, y'all. Nothing has shown us since the offseason that this guy is going to do anything successful for LaMelo Ball and Charlotte. Nothing has shown us that. Everything points to another debacle for James Bouknight, another failed year, another situation where the Charlotte Hornets can't reach, the promised land to where they need to reach. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I firmly believe that Lamelo Ball and the Hornets could change the atmosphere, change the vibe, change how people believe. Salute to the whole chat too as well. Shout out Gemini, Slat, Slim Can Hoop, all y'all that's listening. But I truly believe that the Hornets could change the mindset around them. This stigma has to change, y'all. And Mitch Kupchak, what is he gonna do? You got new ownership. They still haven't put that stamp on this team. You talked about, and I heard that press conference. I heard a lot about modernizing the Charlotte Hornets, looking like an organization of today that adds and adds. Because you got to think. Other teams they're adding. The Eastern Conference is retooling every year. The West is What are the Charlotte Hornets doing to retool? It seems to be a build from within approach, but it seems to be a build in from approach by default. It's not because they are attempting to do massive things and striking out. It's just they really don't have the assets to get some of these. When a big name is out, do they have the assets to get them? These are the questions. We don't know what's going to go on with the Sixers, but I keep throwing Joel Embiid's name out. He's linked to New York. Could you imagine if he could get with LaMelo Ball? We know it's going to cost us some people, but do you want to win, with LaMelo? I think this guy, I believe that LaMelo Ball would fit perfectly with Joel Embiid, perfectly. It's all up to Joel Embiid staying healthy. But like I said, when Mark Williams, what he has done for Mark, will Mark Williams have done any of this without LaMelo? LaMelo is fine with him. All of his teammates is fine with him. And that's definitely has propelled Charlotte to potentially getting that record to a 500 record. Like I said, these next two games against the Washington Wizards are crucial as ever. For Charlotte, this is a serious season. And if you allow, I'm going to be real with you, if they allow Charlotte to just springboard off, if they allow Washington to springboard off of them, I don't know what to say about Charlotte. I'll repeat, you cannot go toe-to-toe with Luka Doncic and get blown out by the Washington Wizards. You cannot allow these guys to beat you, especially at home, taking one game at a time. And then, like I said, once we get to that in-season tournament game, we're going to see LaMelo Ball at a level that we haven't seen in a very long time. And you can see that he's gearing up for something. That game against Luka, that was an emphatic statement. Going up against Poole at home, I expect the shots to fall. You got to understand about Melo. This dude had over 10 assists, and no points really. And at the end of the half, he just goes berserk. LaMelo understands that you have to play. He has to start to get it going early in the first quarter, and I believe that's going to happen. But also, I don't believe LaMelo is going to force the action. When you got guys like Mark Williams, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, LaMelo is empowering these guys, and y'all just don't even know it. And it's being disguised as some rehabilitation process, and that he can't. He is coming along slow and all this old stuff. LaMelo is empowering these guys, and I'm telling you, it's going to pay dividends as we approach the tail end of this season. You looking at Gordon, he damn near carries them for a couple of possessions a game. Terry went down. He also could carry a couple of possessions throughout the game. PJ Washington is becoming a reliable three-point knockdown shooter. Brandon Miller is a guy that is just – he's going to do something on the floor. I don't know what it's going to be every game, but he's going to make himself useful, until he's still trying to figure it out, y'all. So it's not always going to look pretty with Brandon Miller, but he will figure it out. Just give this guy some time. Like I said, he's one of the better rookies in this draft class. Wemby got this thing all twisted, but you can't line up a bunch of rookies and say, hey, he's better than him. Maybe if you want to go with the Thompson twin, and we could get into that a little bit later. And I'm talking about the one out of Detroit. That kid he's balling. And do you think that? But the Hornets needed a guy who could put the ball in the basket. Brandon Miller, as he gets more and more comfortable in the league, and like I stated, when Miles gets back, Miles is going to Miles is going to attract so much defensively. Miles is a guy they also have to double at times. He's penetrating. He has the defense collapse. And now you have another guy who could collapse the defense, kick it out to shooters and things of that nature. This is what Miles is going to be able to do. He will open up the floor for Brandon Miller, and we will see Miller, like I said, propel. He's not going to win Rookie of the Year because of the situation with my man Wemby, and obviously Chet Holmgren is doing his thing. But Brandon Miller is, I would say, at that next level. He's messing with the Thompson twin things. That's going to be a rivalry as well. Obviously you got the Chet rivalry. We still haven't seen Scoop. Scoop was just balling in the offseason. And now it's been crickets ever since. I haven't heard a goddamn thing. It's been radio silent involving Scoot Henderson for whatever reason that is. But a lot of people got on Charlotte behind that pick. But it is what it is. Brandon Miller has proven to be the better selection, a guy who can play alongside Lamelo, and that's exactly what the Hornets needed. You've seen him show his dunking ability. We've seen him show his shooting ability. He could put it on the floor. Now it's all about being consistent. And LaMelo gives this guy the ball. He has a lot of opposite. Obviously, LaMelo is going to take all of the goddamn possessions, most of them. But LaMelo definitely empowers Miller in possessions to bring the ball up the floor. So he's getting a lot of experience out there, along with Steve Clifford, the way he's utilizing Miller. And then you have the situation with Terry Rozier getting hurt. So that's allowing Brandon Miller to take it to the next level as well, minutes-wise. With him being on the floor, his experience, ladies and gentlemen, is going to the roof. And it's only going to pay dividends for the Charlotte Hornets. The more and more he gets comfortable, the more and more the Charlotte Hornets get better, the more and more they have another go-to scorer that LaMelo could feed. I believe when it's all said and done, that Brandon Miller will be a 20-point per game scorer, once he gets, I would say by next season, not this year, but he has he has a mean streak to him. One thing I noticed about Miller, I don't know if y'all have peeped it, he's always involved in an altercation. Every time there's some shoving or some shit going on, you don't notice that Miller is involved, and I'm like, how the hell Miller get in this? Why are everybody kicking out Miller, to get at, so clearly he's a dog, but he has just give this guy an opportunity to break out. I've seen him get frustrated and come out and put the ball in the hole even more, He's a good player. He's gonna be a good guy alongside of LaMelo. And just like I said, these next two games against Washington, the emphasis is through the roof. Remember, 4-4, y'all. 500 record. That's what the Charlotte Hornets are aiming. That's what the LaMelo Ball and company should be trying to do. 500. Yes, shout out Rap Guy Reloaded. The Charlotte Hornets are back in action. They have a back-to-back with the Washington Wizards, Jordan Poole and company. Jordan Poole has had I don't know if y'all seen the press conference. They coming at Jordan Poole about that Ice Spice situation. Jordan Poole has got into a lot of craziness, obviously getting knocked out by Draymond, him getting ran out of Golden State, because that's what happened. He'll try to slice and dice it how he wanted, but they got rid of him, and you hear Draymond continuing to rub it in, pause, and more you see him on the press conferences and things of that nature saying, oh man, it's good to be working around professionals and things of that nature. And mind you, Chris Paul was his arch nemesis, so he'd rather be in the foxhole with him. Obviously, Chris Paul is 30 times better, even at this stage, in my opinion. He's much more reliable, too, what the Golden State Warriors are trying to do. This guy, Chris Paul, will go out there, dope points, 15 assists, or something crazy. So all of these things are big time. Shout out Rap God. He said, Clutch Sports got Poole out of goal. Yeah. That's how you might want to slice it. But I also believe that, they ran his ass out of town. It was he couldn't keep going at Draymond. He was never going to win that war. I guess that he thought that since he was a great young player, or a rising star, whatever the hell you want to call it. That he was supposed to take precedence over an older player, but that was not going to happen because of the foundation that's in place with Golden State. This is not just yet any rinky-dink franchise. You know, these guys done put in work, they done put in pain, and they got some damn rings to prove it. You know, so they can't just throw Draymond to the curb. This shit got to be a peaceful transition. You know, and at this rate, they might as well ride this thing till the wheels fall off, you know, because they could have traded Draymond a long time ago. Clearly, they have no intentions of doing that. Now you have the Klay Thompson dynamic, you know, but like I said, it's crazy with that, you know, with contracts. But it is what it is. We don't know what he could be. He could be on the move, you know, and the more and more Charlotte, you know, continues to get themselves attractive, you know, because this is what it takes to get free agents. This is what it takes to be on that short list when these guys request trades. You know, what is it going to take? Why are people not clamoring to play with Lamelo? You know, people was putting, they had Dallas on the list. Listen, I want to give people a quick little situation. When Kawhi Leonard was requesting things of that nature, I think it was a situation where he wanted to meet with Dallas, you know, to even get up with Luka. So it shows you what kind of situation where a point guard and a superb superstar could change things around. You know, when these guys request trades, they need to have Charlotte on the short list. So that way they could even more get a deal done, you know, and that happens when you are attractive. That's why Charlotte has to win these games. That's why Lamelo has to continue to prove that he can ball on all facets of the game, not just shooting from 30, 40 feet, you know, going mid-range, facilitating in the basket. You know, Lamelo has definitely been finishing around the rim and attacking the basket a lot. I don't know if people have been noticing. And he's been getting a lot more angry. You know, I've noticed, you know, he's playing with a certain level of intensity, you know, and it comes on late for whatever reason, and it's frustrating because it's like, damn, why LaMelo taking so long to get going? But you can't rush greatness. You know, that's one thing that you can't do. And LaMelo Ball is proving more and more his greatness. You know, this is the next evolution of LaMelo as the leader. Now, you knew after he got that bag what time it was. You know, we knew he was going to take it to them, but we didn't know how. We didn't know, you know, we didn't know exactly what it was going to look like, you know, but we seeing it firsthand right now, you know, so I'm very excited for the Charlotte Hornets. And like I said, we will be live. Make sure you tune in. You know, we have an unbelievable back-to-back coming up against the Washington Wizards, Jordan Poole and company. They are struggling. The Hornets cannot allow them to get up on them and jumpstart this LaMelo Ball, and the Hornets got to stomp on them and get that situation to 500. We're gonna get all into it. We got Purple in the building. What's the deal, Purple?
Hello.
What's good? What's your thoughts on this situation? Like I said, this is a serious situation involving the Hornets. This back-to-back is nothing to mess around with. Are you feeling the way I'm feeling? Give us a breakdown of things that you may have heard. Let's talk basketball. Let's flight sports.
I don't know what you can do. You know, we talk about I think they're going into game 7. So I think Miles got 3 more games into his return, and of course like that. But to me, I still got a lot more questions than answers about like this team and how they play and whatever. And then LaMelo too, just with his consistency overall with his shooting.
Listen, I think that LaMelo Ball, his consistency shooting, just give him some time. Like I stated before, it's frustrating because LaMelo will look like he's having an off night. What's going on with Melo? And then before you know it, this man has 19 points. You know, before you know it, he has a triple double. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. It's like it's frustrating. You know, so I think more of the question, like I said, it all like everybody is analyzing the game their way, and I can't make you analyze it the way I see it, but I just think it's more important that LaMelo gets going in the beginning of the game as well offensively. But it seems like he is allowing these other guys to really hold it down. Like I said, Hayward has been carrying these guys. I don't know if people been noticing. Hayward has been balling. How much got to be paid? Go ahead, Purple.
No, and that's my thing with his playmaking. I appreciate his focus to want to get his teammates involved, early on in the game and stuff like that. But like that Dallas game, right? He had 7 assists. I think it was in like the second quarter or something like that. It might have been the first. Shit, I forgot. But then I watched and I'm like, okay, his ankle and everything and the braces. I'm like, and I'm looking, I just feel like he needs to learn a balance. Like, it's cool to have your teammates start your teammates off, but you need to also find your balance shooting wise. I think what I've seen this far is he's been so focused on getting, Gordon started, Terry started, PJ, Mark, everybody that he forgets, like, yo, I got to score too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. What about the player Mark Williams? When you got Mark Williams leading the league in field goal percentage, I mean, you got to give the ball up. I mean, people gotta eat. I mean, what you think about that?
Uh, Even though he's leading right now, that's definitely not going to continue because we speak. I believe when Miles, after his 10 games and whatever, uh, he like I expect him. We got to understand he ain't played basketball in a year. He's not in basketball shape, so I think he's gonna be coming off the bench. How long he gonna be coming off the bench, I don't know, but I question like I don't feel like Gordon like needs somebody to set him up. I don't think Miles needs somebody to set him up, but I think PJ and Mark do. And it's just like, okay, like when does Lamelo, find time to who's setting him up, or when is he gonna find time to, you know, get himself started from a scoring perspective? Because I don't think I think they're an average team at best. If he spends all game, and it's crazy because yeah, he's finishing that Dallas game I think with 10 assists or something like that. But it was
13,
like
10 rebounds as well.
yeah, but it was crazy to me because I'm like, okay, if I take a 10 game sample size of him having 10 assists and let's say 18, 10, and 7. Does his team win those games? Is my question. In a 10 to 20, 10
It
to
all, it
20.
all, it all depends on the competition, and then the people LaMelo playing with. It's not like he playing with some of the players that these other people playing with. Uh, but I understand what you saying. Also, I want to add is he had a steal and a block in that game against the Mavericks.
And then, and I'm concerned about that too. I'm glad that his defense is getting better year by year,
That's right.
but that's another concern I have. I do believe you can have some that list is very small. It's not as big as people think. Guys that play on both ends and stuff like that. But I think if you're asking him to, because at the end of the day, they still don't have a really good secondary playmaker. Even though I know people are depending on like people like Miller and Rozier first and foremost, and maybe even Gordon Hayward to do that. That's to me is not going to work. I think you're still left, you know, like it don't look as good, when Lamelo's not doing it. You don't have nobody, like Lamelo that can do that. But like it's gonna be weird. I feel like they got a whole bunch of guys that can score and get their own baskets, but they have nobody that can set others up. When Lamelo was on the bench taking a breather, and you're asking him to be arguably your best defender on your team, it's just weird to me. Like He need to break somewhere while he on the floor. Like he can't be your best defender, your best playmaker. I have a feeling that he's not. I don't think we should expect him to average. I'd be surprised if he averages 25 because I don't think that's possible with him. Like I don't see that.
It all depends, but I'm with you right now. It's 17 points right now, but the season just started. I don't think that's a fair trajectory. We're not even 10 games in. Uh, but it all depends. This team is a little bit better, I would say. I'm not going to say they're better through the roof, but they're just slightly a tad bit better with the emergence of some of these guys taking the next level. The rookie, even potentially Miles coming back, which is going to change everything. So I think we in a unique spot right now for Charlotte.
Mm.
So what about this Wizards game? Who wins? Why do you think Charlotte can win both of them?
Yes, because I told you the Wizards was gonna be a bad team.
I thought that was gonna be good. I had hope.
I told you.
Like I'm sorry, I love underdogs. So I looked at them as a team trying to do something, but clearly that stigma is on another level. The Wizards, I don't know what's going on out there in DC. What it's gonna take.
Yeah, I told you neither Kuzma or what's the name or one of not the like they need a franchise guy out there in Washington. Neither
Yeah,
one of they're good to add on, but
we don't know what's the future in Washington, right? And
right.
that's why I'm saying that Charlotte cannot allow them to beat them and fool around and start rolling. And it just can't happen. You got to look. Charlotte beat Atlanta game 1. The Hawks have been playing a lot better, since that situation. So at the end of the day, can they? It's tough for Charlotte. I just hope that they could keep going and winning and things of that nature. Because if you could beat teams like that, why can't you? Why can't you continue to do what you have to do? The Hawks are 4th right now. They're 4-3. Charlotte should have been 4-3. So it's crazy. It just don't make no sense. What do you think about what's up with Kuzma? Is he still playing? Is he hurt?
I don't know because I haven't been keeping up
Let me see what
with
the hell is
Washington like
going on.
that. I just ain't surprised that they playing bad. They cheats. They
Wow. Let me,
they
uh,
brother.
let me see if Kuzma played. Kuzma did play. He played November. He played the last game against the Sixers. He had 28 points. So, the Wizards. Let's see. The Wizards are struggling now. But like I said, I think they got the worst record right now in the Eastern Conference. The Wizards got 1-5. Horrible. Uh, who I'm trying to look at the team that they actually beat? Who did they beat this season? They beat the Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizzlies suck. Did they ever win a game?
Nope.
No, the
And I told
Grizzlies.
people the Wizards. I mean, not the Wizards, the Grizzlies.
Yeah,
For all
so
the defense that Marcus Smart is giving, I knew that. Like that team, Jaren Jackson. I don't know what's going on with him.
that's crazy how the Celtics got rid of him and they're fooling around, got the best record in the league. I know he's feeling crazy. He on the worst team in the
And
league.
then
They fooling
my,
around not to win it all.
I see.
He gonna be hurt when they win the championship. If they
Uh, I,
win it.
I seen Thunder say something about his assist, but I keep telling people about Lamelo. I watched him even though he was in and out the lineup last year, have games where he had 10 assists, and I seen like I keep trying to tell y'all. He would have, like, for example, 7 assists in the first quarter, but the next couple of quarters, he didn't take a shot or he didn't, I'm not blaming him because when your teammates miss shots, but he didn't record like a shot or an assist. And I'm worried about that with like, like I said, I think PJ can't create his own shot to me. And Mark Williams, I think they need LaMelo for that. But like Gordon, like he pretend like he needs somebody to help him set up, but he really don't. And we know Terry don't, he's a ball hog, but like it's not impressive to me that he's gonna average 10 assists.
Right. I mean, it's crazy. So Thunder said Rozier been hogging shots, so Melo people may go down. But
His points, I think he missed.
oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I misheard him. Shout out Thunder. We're gonna
But
find out. What do you think about that? You think Rozier was a problem?
yeah, and that's what I keep saying. Like, it's crazy that I don't think Lamelo can. I know people want Miller to play at the 2. I don't know if it's he can't. It's not working. Like Lamelo's starting to grow and become not more mature, but a better basketball player. So maybe that's why it's not working with Rozier. But what I see, and I noticed it since before he got into the NBA, he can't play to me with another guard in the backcourt that scores. Like that's not a playmaker. He don't it's like I don't like to say he struggles off ball, but I feel like he's lost sometimes.
Right. Who you said was lost?
Huh?
Who lost?
LaMelo, like I be watching him like
When defensively?
no, when like other people got the ball, like when he be off ball, it's like he disappeared. Like it's just weird.
Right. Oh, we got the casual in the building. What's the deal, casual?
What's going on, brother? What's going
What's
on?
good? What's good? I seen you in here. Yes, it was about the other day. I didn't get a chance to really build with you, man. How you doing? Was that your first time on the channel?
Yeah. Like I told him Sunday. Yeah, it was Sunday. Typically around this time, I'm usually doing promo runs and just going talk basketball with pretty much anybody to get followers on my channel and stuff like that. So.
Right. Well, I okay. So where you from?
I'm from Houston.
Okay, shout out Houston. Okay, so what's the deal on the Charlotte Hornets and the conversation that's at hand?
As far as them going up against Washington, I think you guys should win both games. You have interior presence in Mark Williams. You guys have the firepower offensively. The only thing that is like not unexpected, but the only thing that's like a wild card is whether Jordan Poole will take advantage of the problem that you guys have at hand, which is not really having a proper defensive perimeter point of attack defender. So if he wakes up and understands that, then you guys might be in trouble. But outside of that, you guys should win both games.
Right. So what's your team?
My team, as far as like currently, is Milwaukee Bucks. My young team is the Detroit Pistons.
Okay. All right. Shout out. Listen, obviously, I'm a Knicks fan, but I'm rapping with Charlotte. Yeah, so I mean, it is what it is. You're right about Mark Williams. We were just discussing. He's leading the league in field goal percentage. The Charlotte Hornets are definitely maximizing his capabilities. What do you think about the veterans like Gordon Hayward? We was just discussing him. Have you been monitoring his game because he's been big for Charlotte?
Gordon Hayward has been sort of the same player since his injury back in 2019. For really the entire time that he's been playing for you guys. Gordon Hayward, since the leg injury, has sort of turned himself more so into a off-ball scorer with the ability at times to be able to take players off of the dribble. The problem is his Utah days versus him currently, he was able to wager his athleticism to be able to blow by defenders, whereas nowadays he's not capable to do so on a consistent basis. So he has to depend on playmakers like Lamelo to be able to give him a quality shot. And typically when he gets that opportunity, he usually nails it down. I want to say since he's been playing with you guys for like the last 4 seasons, I believe.
Yeah.
He's been shooting well over like 37 or 38% from the 3-point line on like good efficiency. I think the only down year he had was like last year.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Gordon was a little inconsistent last year. Gordon, he's a good player for them. Terry went out. What about the play of Brandon Miller? You know, because obviously Wemby, we was just discussing Wembenyama. It's like he just cast a cloud over every goddamn thing. You know, Miller has been doing pretty well for himself. Can you speak to you about what you've seen from him early?
From the Melo?
No, Brandon Miller.
Brandon Miller. Like I said on Sunday, what I see from him is about what I expected from him coming into his rookie season. He's a very streaky shooter in a sense, from the standpoint of when his 3-point shot is on, he's capable of being able to use his ability to create with off the dribble, to be able to become more so of a slasher using his athleticism to be able to like do stuff like he did against Detroit. Or you'll have games like the night against the Mavericks on Sunday, where he couldn't hit shit from the 3-point line, and because of that, he wasn't able to be that effective on the floor outside of his ability to use his size somewhat in the passing lanes. And even then, I think is a little questionable because his main assignment, as we were talking about on Sunday, was Kyrie Irving, and Kyrie Irving was able to essentially have an efficient game as far as like scoring wise, and he put up 10 assists. So I think Brandon Miller to start off the season is about as rocky as I would expect, but this is not even 10 games, so I don't really have much of a report on him.
Right, I'm with you on that. Miller's definitely he's all right. Like I said, in my opinion, we haven't seen the best of him. It is what it is.
I will give him this though. He is showing so far in the season to be a very good offensive rebounder for his position.
Right. Okay. That's fair. What do you think about that, Purple? You think that's fair?
Yeah, I agree with everything he said.
Yeah, definitely very insightful. So what about the in-season tournament? Because obviously it's a back-to-back with the Wizards. The first one is what it is. How do you think the Hornets will fare? And I'm gonna ask both of y'all this question. We'll start with you, Casual. How do you see the Hornets playing in an environment like that? Is obviously a little bit more emphasis than a regular season matchup. Do you think the Hornets how do you see them playing in that environment? Do we see Lamelo take it to another level? I mean, and the Wizards, that's a situation where Lamelo could get crazy. I don't know, people. It's an instant. Lamelo might fool around, drop 50. You know, Poole might try to do it. You know, you don't know. I mean, what's your thoughts?
I think when it comes to the Charlotte Hornets, forget the Charlotte Hornets for a second. When it comes to the in-season tournament, as we can see with some teams that have had the pleasure and misfortune of being in the in-season tournament, if you're not ready, you're not ready. And so when you go up against these teams, some of these teams and they're playing high leverage basketball, like we saw with, let's say, for instance, the Milwaukee Bucks versus New York Knicks game, to kick off the in-season tournament. If you're playing like purposeful basketball, if you're not ready, you're going to mess around and end up getting exposed for not being ready. And so in this sense, I think neither team is necessarily ready. So they should be absolutely fine, right? But when they go up against other teams in the in-season tournament that are better defenses, that have the requisite pieces to be able to expose what the Charlotte Hornets lack, right? Or expose what they're not capable of being able to defend on the defensive end for them, it could be able to cause major problems for them. So I don't really think the in-season tournament is really more for them as more of just experience of, you know, having this unit, because they didn't have Mark Williams last year. So really any game
they did have Mark Williams last year.
They did?
Yeah, he wasn't playing.
No, didn't he go down with an injury?
Nah, not that I know. Hell no. Purple, he didn't go down with no injury.
Mark Williams, I could have sworn Mark Williams went down with an injury. Last year he only played. Let me check him. I'm tripping. Last year he only played like 40 something. Yeah, he only played 43 games last year.
Yeah, I forgot.
He might have had a hand. I do remember some situation with that. But I'm not 100% sure, so I don't want to. But I know that he was there last. All I'm clarifying is he was there last year.
Yeah, he got.
I ain't talking about all the games I was playing and all of that.
Yeah, last year he only played like 43 games. They shut him down. No, well he finished off the season, but he missed. I want to say he played
missed
October,
a good
December,
piece of the season last year.
November all the way to January.
I mean,
Yeah, he was
listen,
in the G League.
I just wanted to clarify that he was there last year. That's all.
Yeah, he was there, but he was injured. He missed a good
Well,
chunk.
everybody was injured. Everybody missed a portion.
No, but what the young man is saying is actual true. He missed a good chunk of the season,
But he
but
was
he
in,
did finish strong after
Yeah.
coming back off of the injury.
So having like this full team like fully healthy, all that should really matter to the Charlotte Hornets is just being able to get repetition in with one another. Figuring out the rotations. What works well with the tandem of Lamelo and Mark Williams. What doesn't work well with the tandem of Lamelo and Mark Williams. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's more of a priority than actually winning these games. Like obviously you want to win the games, but what should matter more is execution. You want to execute the game plan.
Right. Good call. I want to just get Purple's opinion on this. What do you think about that in-season tournament regarding LaMelo Ball and the Hornets? How do you see LaMelo and the Hornets gauging in that atmosphere, Purple?
to me, as I said numerous times before, they need to figure out what they want to do. Do they want to be this winning team that's top six playoff team, in the East, which I don't see them doing, or do they want to develop and get their guys better and more cohesive and figure out who's number one, number two, number three, simple things like that. And until they figure out things like that, the in-season tournament should be the least of their worries.
I agree.
That's fair. We got Big Al in the building. Big Al has some opinions on my man Casual. You was discussing something in the chat about him regarding Brandon Miller. What did you hear?
Casual, man. What's going on, man?
What's up, Big Al?
What's going on, brother? What's going on?
Casual, why you a suspect fan? Why you don't know about Mark Williams, man? You don't even know he was in the. He didn't get hurt in the season. He got hurt after the season. His hand got hurt.
He only played. He only played 43 games.
He was in a G League most of the season.
He only played 43 games. Also.
No, he was in a G League most of the season. When he started playing, he played.
So they sent him down to the G League just to end up having him come back to finish off the season.
He was a rookie last year. Jim and I, let me talk. He was a rookie last year. Okay. Plumlee was here, right? You remember that, right? Plumlee was starting. Mark was not starting. He should have been starting, but Mark was not starting. They had him in the G League most of the year. And then when they just, when the season was pretty much salvaged, they knew they weren't going no damn well. That's when they traded Plumlee, and then they started Mark. So, but Mark was backing up Plumlee most of the time, because he was dominating the G League. He was doing really good there. Then he started backing up Plumlee majority of the time. And then they traded Plumlee, and he started. I don't remember any time that he was hurt.
That he was hurt at the beginning of the season, and that's when he was hurt. The games that they count. Hold on.
Okay. Go ahead and finish. Go ahead and finish. Yeah, go ahead and finish.
The games that they count is the games you played. They don't care if you started or you was a bench player. They do not care. They track.
Gemini, you are not a Hornets fan. You don't know. Listen, Mark Williams did not even was in a G League, man. He wasn't hurt, man. That's a fact. But I'm past that. I'm making that point because you seem like you try to make your name through Flight Sports. It's all good, man. Casual, do your thing. But at the end of the day,
I'm trying to make my name through Flight Sports.
Yeah, it's all good. But yeah, let me
no,
talk.
brother.
But the thing is, why you hating on Brandon Miller, man? He's a rookie.
You get casual. I don't believe that. Shout out to you. I appreciate you.
Hell, you reaching, my dude.
Your basketball. You just off on the mark where you just made a mistake, and it wasn't that serious. You was firing on all cylinders. Right. You know, you got to understand. Everybody don't follow the Charlotte Hornets like we do. You know, so we got to put that into consideration as well. Right. But shout out to casual. It's definitely an honor to have you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but what's your problem with me?
So Brandon, okay. When I wasn't watching the stream, but I clicked on and I saw you. I saw the name. I remember the hate you had last time. It seemed like the hate continued against Brandon Miller. What's your problem with Brandon Miller, man? He's doing good. He's a rookie. Everybody thought he was going to be wet. A lot of people said he was going to be terrible. That he didn't do shit in preseason or summer league. They said he's going to be wet. He's showing that he can get to the rim. He can get to the rim. I know the dribbling game ain't as solid as it need to be, but I'm saying he can get to the rim. He's a solid defender. He can shoot. People saying he fucking couldn't shoot. Excuse my language. That's not true. He can shoot. He's showing that he might pan out and be actually a star. He could be a star. I know I'm shooting for the stars, but you know what? He's produced, in my opinion, because they told us Scoot Henderson was going to be the next coming. Why ain't Scoot Henderson doing all that?
Scoot Henderson is struggling for the same reason that Brandon Miller is struggling at times when their shot is not well. In Brandon Miller's case, when his shot isn't working, the rim pressure that he's allowed to be able to put on defenses is no longer allowed because defenses are just backing up because they don't believe in his jump shot. In Scoot Henderson's case, Scoot Henderson doesn't have a jump shot to begin with, so that's why he doesn't have any rim pressure. So
first thing you said right tonight.
So what is your point as far as me?
Wait, hold on. L, Big L.
What's up, man? What's up, Jimmy?
Ankle injury, November 16th, 2-2.
Who?
Ankle injury.
Who?
Who you think I'm talking about? Mark Williams, December 3rd, 2-2. Thumb injury, 3/10/23. Now he also had an ankle injury again. You're saying the man wasn't hurt. The man did miss time, bro. I know he missed time.
But Gemini,
don't say the man didn't miss time, my dude.
But you said
no,
the man
stop.
missed time.
L.
Gemini.
No, L. He was not. He was in the pros at that time. That's when he.
Of course, he was in the pros
when
he's in G League.
No, G League is not the pros, my dude. The G League is still development league. And that's what the young man pointed out. The young man was actually right. But you saying he was wrong, dude. Don't lie on him. He was right. He just got the injury wrong. It was an ankle. I don't remember a hand. I remember an ankle. That's why I even had to go back in my notes.
I didn't even say hand. I just say he got injured.
Well, it sounds like you said hand, so I'll take that back. I'll take that back. But it was an ankle injury.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna let you keep talking. I do not remember Mark Williams being hurt, bro. I'm just gonna be real.
He was hurt. Bro.
He was in the G League, from what I noticed. So what does that? I mean, he might have missed G League games because he was actually.
Yeah, well, I mean, we get the picture. I mean, shout out Mark Williams.
Okay.
Yeah. Shout out Mark Williams.
So,
but you were speaking about Brandon Miller and how I'm hating on him.
Yeah. So I mean, okay. My thing is Brandon Miller has produced in the face of adversity, because everybody's trying to say he's not producing enough to be a number 2 pick. But when the season started, he proved that he was worth that pick and more.
When the season started?
Yeah, Summer League. In Summer League, in my opinion, he proved it even in Summer League. Preseason,
Okay.
you know,
I agree. I think he played well in the summer league.
right. And when the season started, preseason that is, he had issues where he was trying to, get used to the speed of the game, which I believe he did that. I believe he was doing that in the summer, but that's in spite of his teammates. Because like what I was saying, even though I kept saying this in preseason, let him get on court. Let him get on the court with guys with awareness, guys who know how to play basketball, aka Lamelo Ball. I'll be honest, aka Gordon Hayward. I mean, people hate on him sometimes, but he's a solid basketball player, aka PJ Washington, aka guys who can make him look good.
I've heard nobody hate on Gordon Hayward, but go ahead.
The thing about it, because a lot of the guys, and it's another thing people have been saying on this thing about the Hornets, they don't have backups. They don't have guys they almost don't have guys that should be in the NBA that's backups. We don't have guys that's really producing and that can go to another team and flourish, who seem to have potential, but they just backing up. We don't seem to have that. We've had that in the past, but right now we don't really have that. Now, we can't say that about Nick Smith because we haven't really seen him. But for some reason, Clifford don't want to play him. But everybody else, maybe Theo Maladon might be in the next season, but he's shooting airball threes. I don't know about that. But everybody else,
it seems like you're sort of going on a tyrant. So I'll save you the breath. When it comes to Brandon Miller, I've stated that I personally, if I was Charlotte, I would not have drafted Brandon Miller. That's not to say that Brandon Miller is not worth being a top pick. That's because Charlotte does not have the assets for them to be able to do what I think ultimately they should do to best maximize the people that they have on the roster currently. And I advise that they should have traded the second round pick, traded down, gotten more assets in that sense. So I don't think that Brandon Miller shouldn't have been drafted second. I just think Charlotte should have traded their pick and drafted downward. So that's one. And then two, when it comes to Brandon Miller personally, I don't know the guy. On basketball level, though, he's not a good shooter so far. He hasn't shown to be a good shooter. Has he shown streakiness? Absolutely. For the month of October, for those first 3 games, he shot fantastic. 43% on like 5 attempts. Beautiful. But then we go into this month so far, and he's been terrible from the 3-point line, shooting 10% from the 3-point line. That's not going to cut it. Shooting 39% from the field. That's not going to cut it. Being a bad playmaker, not going to cut it. Being a great rebounder, that is a plus. Being a solid defender for you to only be 6 games into your NBA career, that is a plus. Being a positive when it comes to interrupting passes in the passing lane, that is a positive. But that's about all that I can give him. On the offensive end, he has been inconsistent, and you would not be okay if this was anybody else but Brandon Miller, because he is your second overall pick. That's why it matters so much to you. So no, I'm not hating on him. I'm just spitting the fact that he has been off for his first few games. He had a good October, but he's been rocky since.
Well, look, you saying that. Go ahead, Purple.
No, I was you said trading now, man. I asked you who you would have took it. Like, you think they should have took it?
I think they should have traded downward and probably taken like a 10 through 15 overall pick, whoever like.
Say who you said last time, Casual.
I think they should have traded for Cam Whitmore at a bottom lottery pick.
There you go.
Yeah, I think they should have traded for. I think Cam Whitmore, and another first round pick would have justified them trading the second overall pick. That would have been Brandon Miller.
Okay.
Oh man. So Brandon Miller is ass right now because he had 2 bad shooting games.
No, he's not ass. He's just inconsistent.
Well, you said he's an ass shooter, though. That's what you said,
I
right?
say he's a bad shooter. He's a bad
Well,
shooter.
that's the same thing, right?
No.
All right.
If a bad shooter is shooting 40 something percent for like 3 games, and then the other 3 games he's shooting 33% or 10%, I'm sorry, that doesn't mean you're ass. That just means you're an off and on shooter.
Okay, so the whole team is a bad set of bad 3-point shooters then.
No. Gordon Hayward is
Who's
shooting
not?
40. Gordon Hayward has been shooting 40% for you guys for the majority of his time he's been
Gordon
with you.
Hayward has had terrible games. Granted, Brandon Miller's a rookie. Gordon Hayward is what, probably 7. How many years he's been in the league? I don't know.
Gordon Hayward for the majority. You do realize Gordon Hayward for the majority of his career has been a fantastic 3-point shooter. You do realize.
I give him that.
Okay, but you looking at a big span of games.
He's a member of your roster.
Right, but so you can't really make that judgment about Brandon Miller.
Lamelo Ball is a fantastic 3-point shooter.
He is, according to what you
Yes.
said, he's not.
How so? How so?
Because he had a dismal set of games where he's been shooting bad from 3, man. Just like Brandon Miller.
But yet, again, if you heard what I said, it's only 10 games. I don't even have like a full report to give on Brandon Miller as like a complete player because he's
peace, everybody.
What's good, Murgo?
I'm telling you from the games that I've watched, the 6 games that he has played, he has not looked great.
Okay, but you have to quell back your judgment on Brandon Miller then, because what you're just saying is right. You can't give a true assessment on like what, it's 6 games, right?
So then why ask me any questions about Brandon Miller?
Said bad, but you said he was a bad shooter though, man. That's what you said.
He's been a bad shooter thus far. Plus, by the way, you do realize for the 6 games of LaMelo's career to start off, he was a 50% 3-point shooter. So by that logic, then LaMelo Ball is a great 3-point shooter. You see how nonsensical
we can say the same thing about Brandon Miller. In college, he was a solid 3-point
shooter.
See, I ain't bringing nothing up about college.
Well, it's the truth.
So let's hold on. Let me say this.
He's 6
I don't mean to
go 8 for 26.
Go ahead, Murgo.
Oh, Murgo, go ahead.
What's good, y'all, man? Shout out to Play Sports TV. Shout out to D Casual. Welcome on the channel. So appreciate your insight and intake. Shout out to everybody on Purple Baby, Big Al, Gemini. Shout out to all y'all. Shout out to Flight. I do have to say this, Big Al. I hate to break it to you, but the gentleman is right. Now, I wouldn't say Brandon Miller has been bad per se, like the casual said. I think he's done some good things, but I do agree that his jump shot is inconsistent. But like the casual said, it's been 10 games and he's a rookie, so he understands there's going to be inconsistencies with that. It's going to be inconsistencies with that. That's all he's saying. It's all he's saying, that his jump shot is inconsistent. You're taking a little bit of his words that he specified to heart and not looking at the overall view of it, as he specified that Brandon Miller is consistent right now. But a lot of rookies came in. Look at some of the rookies that Brandon Miller's being compared to. Paul George, his rookie year, he even specified that teams used to leave him wide open at 3-point line, and he couldn't generate rim pressure because of that. Look at Jason Tatum. Not the best 3-point shooter, but the difference between Jason Tatum, he played on a very quality basketball team that year that helped him out with that. Brandon Miller particularly doesn't have that, as the casual pointed out, to be able to system, to be able to bring up the upside in some of the areas of his basketball game, such as get into the mid-range and get into the rim. Jason Tatum had a bit more spacing because he had other great 3-point shooters around him, whereas it's not as, and rebounders is not the same on Charlotte right now, especially when you when you play Brandon Miller with the bench players. For the Celtics, they have quality 3-point shooters off the bench, so it allowed Jason Tatum to be able to flourish. That's all he's specifying right there. You know, that's all he's saying. He's not saying that Brandon Miller is just like this terrible NBA player. He's just pointing out and being objective of what he's seen so far. He's pointing out some of the good. He's pointing out some of the things that Brandon Miller needs to improve on, such as being able to dribble a little bit better. He needs to improve on that. Is he better? Is he better than Jabari Smith at dribbling? Yes, he is. Because Jabari Smith was horrible at dribbling when he came in as a rookie. But he can get better at it. But did he point out that Brandon Miller is shooting bad for a 3-point line? He is right now. But he's a rookie. He can get better at it. It's like other rookies.
Actually, no. He's shooting just fine from the free throw line.
Yeah. So he shoot. Good. Yeah. The free throw he's good. Free throws he's good. He needs to get better at shooting the three. Mid range he's all right. I think he's still in the 40s, but he's all right.
3.9.
Yeah, so that's fine for a rookie. So the 3-point shot he needs to get better at, and that's fine. That happens as a rookie. It takes a bit of a while to adjust, but at least he does have that going forward. Whereas Scoot hasn't had that, but teams know how to play Scoot. They just sag off of him. So don't take it as much as too hard. I get it. You want to be objective, Big Al, but don't take it as much to heart. He's just stating his objectivity of it. That's all he's saying. But he's not saying that Brandon Miller is bad overall. He just said he just pointed out some inconsistencies in his game, which he's a rookie. He can get better at that. That's all he specified. I said my piece.
Now I will say this. He is doing well at rebounding because he got 27 boards. He does have 10 assists. And at this point, he's almost averaging a half a block a game. So there are aspects that he is doing well at, and that is a good sample size. And we are giving him flowers. We overall is things that will get fixed amongst the season progress, but he also will get more looks and better looks rather than what he's getting now. Because think about it, Big L. Me and you both talked about this, my guy, that they are not really implementing him amongst the offense like we wish they would.
And
But
that's what
that
I'm
is
saying,
part of the
Jim Al.
problem. But
That's
that is
great.
that is part of the
That
problem.
proves my point. Go ahead.
But that is part of the problem because when it's time for him to pull that trigger, it it it, it doesn't help with the confidence level. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm thankful he's doing better than his idol right now. So I'll take that and I'll run with that. But overall, they're gonna have to implement him more than what they're doing. That's a blessing and a curse, but it can affect his psyche along the way of his development.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
but too at the same time, Steve Clifford is old school. He's going to have to earn it, which he'll get
I
those
agree.
looks later on. He's gonna have to earn it, and he earns that by basically some of the things he did with the Mavericks last night, with
So
Steve Clifford
my
reporting out.
God.
So hold on, let me finish. Just like Steve Clifford reported out in the post game conference. Did Brandon Miller shoot great that night? He said no. Also, that was his first back-to-back game that night as well. That Steve Clifford pointed out. But he played some pretty good defense when he was matched up with Luka and with Kyrie. Plus, like the casual said, it's Kyrie. I expect Kyrie to get his buckets, but Brandon Miller at least made it tough on him when his length and some of his athleticism on the defensive end, especially as well as on Luka. The fact that he held them under their percentages, their point average. Kyrie only had 18. Kyrie averages, I think, like 24. Luka averages plus 30. And Luka had 23. Kyrie had 18. I'll take it. Because you
Yep.
basically forced other players to beat you. So, which they did. Grant Williams got hot. That typically don't happen. He got hot in the fourth quarter. You couldn't do nothing about that. The fact,
Okay,
but they didn't let Luka and Kyrie beat, and that's what
right.
matters. And he held his own in his matchup. So that's
Okay,
all I got
so
to say. Right
yeah, so that speaks well to Brandon Miller's significance because against the Mavericks, he held his own against all-stars. I mean, that speaks to his significance on the team because he didn't put other I think he put Hayward on Luka and Brandon on Kyrie. And I think the casual, you sort of was like, oh, Kyrie was still balling out. Well, I mean, that's Kyrie is a bona fide superstar at this point.
Yeah, but I also said that.
So
I said I don't expect Brandon Miller or
okay, I got you. But
Yeah, he said that.
Can
You got to listen to him. You got to listen to him.
I am listening. Okay, so yeah, Kyrie, he's a superstar. So the fact that he was actually had a rookie guarding a superstar is a really big deal. Would you not agree, the casual? So I mean,
no.
All right, so, huh? Okay, we'll get to that. Okay, so my thing is Brandon is doing really good because at this point, he's proven a lot of haters wrong. He got booed when he got drafted. Let's not forget that. He actually fucking got booed. Who gets, niggas that get booed usually fall under pressure, don't they? But this
Big
man,
Al.
can I finish, Burgard? Thank you.
Man, Big Al. Big Al. I have to. No. Hold on. I have to ask. I have to ask. No. I have to ask.
Can I talk?
What does the booing have to do with it on the court?
I don't care, man. Let me just talk. Let me finish my thought, sir. Damn, I know you're trying to make me act funny. Let me just talk, my nigga. Okay? Thank you, Murgard.
This is crazy.
It's not crazy. Okay, so my thing is he's producing under pressure. Some people are saying he was not the first. He should have been the second pick. Scoot should have been. He's had all kinds of pressure in Summer League. He had pressure, legal allegations. He's had pressure because he's a second pick. He's had pressure because he said Paul George was his GOAT. All this bullshit people are giving him a hard time for. He's actually a sustainable, and people are hollering his name and saying he should be starting right now. That's literally what's going on right now. But you said and you. This is what I heard. The casual. I'm a fall back because this is what I heard when you talked about him. Sound like you said he was a bad shooter. You didn't say he was shooting bad. You said he was a bad shooter. That's different from you saying he's shooting bad. You saying he's a bad shooter, saying he ain't gonna never change. He just can't shoot.
I want to try to.
Okay, let me finish my statement. I'll let you go. So at this point, I think Brandon has proved his significance to the team, and I think he actually should be starting. To be honest, but at the end of the day, you got the casual. I mean, I don't want you to hate on him. Just be honest, man. He's doing good, man.
And this is funny that you're doing this because it's like I was saying earlier, I do promo runs just strictly to talk basketball with people and hopefully get some people that want to talk on the show or just follow or something like that. And so what happens is I come on to some of these shows and they're talking about their teams and for existence. I was on earlier a Rockets themed show, right? And so what happens sometimes is you get to talking about as well as the positives, you get to also talking about some of the things that they need to work on. Not necessarily negatives, but stuff that they need to develop for them to progress to be, in an upper echelon of the NBA. And when you speak on these things, people that are passionate fans for their team, right? They get so overwhelmed by the bit of the sentence that you spoke about that they up in arms. They want to put you on a pitchfork. And that's what it sounds like it is right here. Big Al, I hear you, okay? And no, I am not a Charlotte Hornets fan by a long stretch. I am not a fan of the Charlotte Hornets.
I know.
Not because of not the players, but the front office, because they have held hostage and they have mishandled a lot of talent over the years.
I agree with that.
I never appreciate franchise that's why I can never be a Sacramento Kings fan. They ruined DeMarcus Cousins' career and so many others, and I could never follow somebody like that, right? But And that's not a knock to you. That's just, that's just the way I operate. But understanding the situation that they're in, they are in a very opportunistic situation where you have a bundle load of young talent that are just ready and primed to learn and develop good habits so that they could be transcendent, like offensive, a transcendent offensive team in the NBA, right? I'm speaking about Lamelo, Brandon Miller, and Mark Williams. The trio of them should be the locked-in trio for years to come. Problem with it is, when you're doing that, you're going to be in situations like this of where you have a rough prospect, because Brandon Miller he's a rough, raw athlete of a prospect. And what I'm trying to get you to understand, when I say that right now Brandon Miller is not a good shooter, I'm speaking about what I saw in the summer league, what I saw in the preseason, and what I see now. That's the only way I could do it, because it's only 6 games in the regular season, so I don't have too much to go off on him. So he's not a good shooter, not in its totality. He may have good streaky roll of games where you're like, damn, this nigga look nice, right? Like the 3 games to start off the season, or some of the games in the preseason. But he can also have games like he did in the summer league, or games like he did for the last 3 games where he's missing. And because he's missing, it's a domino effect of his game not being as impactful as it should be on the offensive end. I give you, defensively, for a rookie, he's showing himself to be a little more impactful than I expected, at least. But on the offensive end, these are the things that he needs to improve on, being more consistent at, for you guys, the Charlotte Hornets, to be more competitive for a sustained amount of time. He can be good for 3 games if you want him to, and then be bad for 3 other games, and those are the games that you lose. Or you can press upon he needs to be better at this more often than not, so that he can actually understand, okay, this is something serious.
Well, I will say this. As far as the last game, and I literally had to pull this up because I do remember he was shooting a lot, but I didn't realize that he was 9 for 23. So it wasn't just Miller by himself. I mean, Miller was 3 for 12, but Haywood 9 for 23 and 1 for 4 from 3. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a domino effect that was waiting to happen.
right. And I
So
will
th-
I will
that
support your argument, gentlemen. And I say this: is it not a situation where Brandon Miller is not shooting enough to get out of that bad groove? Maybe he needs to have the ball in his hand more, so he can
He's
get out of
taking
that
11,
bad move.
taking 11 shots. He's taking 11 shots a game. I don't know about you, before a rookie, that's a good amount of shots, especially if you're not a shot creator.
yeah.
And there's stretches within this season where he's taken 13, 16, 12 shots a game. And for like 2 out of the 3 of them, it ended well. But then you'll have games like the night where he played Dallas, where he took 12 shots. It didn't go so well for him.
But that's mainly because he literally had what we would say, extend that energy to the defensive side, and I'll take that type balance, especially as a rookie, but it's still something that's gonna have to be fixed amongst the season.
Who was
I
that?
I see your point on that, but
Turn
that's
your mic down, my nigga. Damn.
man. I see my bad, man, but I see your point on that, but I have to disagree with you on that, Gemini. I mean, I
Okay.
get it. He's a rookie. He has to get better at that. But I mean, you see players like Paul George, who guards the best player on one end, but gives you 30 on the next end. So it's just something that he just has to improve upon and get better at. So I
Yeah,
can't. I,
but
I
I,
I can't give you that. I can't give you that right now. I mean, he just. I mean, it's like I agree with a lot of points that The casual said he's not saying he's a bad player. He just said these are things he needs to get better at, and he's pointing out his
I agree.
inconsistency. He just needs to be a better shooter. But that comes with time being a rookie. Just like he pointed out, Scoop need to be a better shooter. That comes with time and being a rookie. That's all he's saying, man.
Well, I'll say this about Miller and L. I'm about to make you smile.
Uh-oh.
This is if one thing you could say within these 6 game sample size, he has not been benched like his counterpart.
Oh,
So L, take your bow. We
yeah, I
are
know.
saying he, we are saying that we do want the young man to do better, and that's the part where I was really trying to slow you up because I don't think the casual was really trying to go left with it. He was just giving his basketball perspective of it, and he does hit a lot of key points, but he did say the young man has to still put in work to get better. That's why I even said he is doing better than his idol his rookie year. And everybody forget that Paul George only averaged 8 points. Like nobody thinks about that. So he's doing better than his idol, but he still has a, a, to develop along the way to be that better player. But also the organization and the coaching staff have to integrate him and figure out where is he better so it can shine more than his negatives while he's still developing, my G.
Mm.
I say
Oh,
one.
oh,
I just want to say one thing to piggyback off of what he said. What I also said on Sunday night was that I don't pin him struggling fully on him. It's really not even majority on him. Majority of it that I'm putting on is Steve Clifford. Steve Clifford is terrible. He's a terrible head coach. Should have been fired a couple years ago. There was a specific play in the game against the Dallas Mavericks where it was the game-winning play. Actually, it should have been the game-winning play, or not the game-winning play, but the game that sent them into overtime.
I know what
And
you're talking
he,
about.
and Lamelo Ball scored like 23 points in the fourth quarter. He had the hot hand, and yet you have Lamelo not even looking at the inbounder. He's just cutting inward towards the rim to set a screen for Gordon Hayward,
Mm.
then popped out to the top of the key and ran to the half court to the half court area. No, made no sense whatsoever. Couldn't even tell what the hell he was trying to do, and had Brandon Miller as the inbounder, and ultimately he got the 5 seconds. But you don't penalize him for that. That's Steve Clifford, and that's just like a chunk, a small portion of the
Mm.
mistake that he's made throughout his 2 years that I've
Mm.
watched him as the head coach for you guys.
Facts,
Uh,
casual.
casual
Yes, you're right about that.
for you. What is your? I don't know how many years you've been watching the Hornets, but what is your overall assessment of Lamelo?
I think LaMelo Ball is amazing as an offensive talent. I think he has the potential as he grows more comfortable in the half court setting to be able to become a fantastic pick and roll point guard. Not to say that he isn't now. I just don't think he's had the proper reps along with a big man like, let's say, Mark Williams, for him to be able
Mm.
to further practice on his ability
Yeah,
to guard
that's his first time.
different
That-
defenses.
yeah, that's his first time having something like that in the league.
So I think that's one. I think as a 3-point shooter, and I was actually debating over this a little while ago on how good of a 3-point shooter LaMelo was, and the more I did homework on him, as far as like his 3-point shooting, the more fascinated I got. I think the problem that LaMelo deals with 3-point shooting is he takes so many of them. Like he took last year 12 threes a game. To put into context, James Harden in his MVP year took 14. All 14 of them were contested, and he shot a high percentage. LaMelo Ball is doing the exact same thing on just a tier lower volume, like two more 3-pointers. And the crazy part about it is James Harden had spacing and he was doing that. LaMelo Ball doesn't have the necessary like spacing that you would like for him to have. And yet he's still able to shoot 37% from the 3-point line on like 10 to 11 attempts. I think as an offensive piece, LaMelo Ball can turn himself into, and I don't say this word lightly, a transcendent point guard offensively. The likes that we haven't seen since Stephen Curry, Steve Nash. And the problem is LaMelo Ball has to actually up his IQ. I think it's not only that he doesn't have spacing. LaMelo Ball just shoots some shit just to shoot some shit sometimes. He looks for the highlight play. He looks for the highlight play rather than the intelligence. And in some cases, it benefits him, right? But in other times, well, majority of the time, it puts him in a lot of trouble, a lot of tricky situations that he could have just avoided in the first place. So I think that's step one of him. And then on the other end, by the other end, I mean defensively, I think what you're seeing from him currently is about as good as it gets. I think the problem with LaMelo Ball isn't necessarily his athletic ability or him utilizing his size. I think he can develop the IQ to use his 6'7" frame a little better. But as far as the effort defensively, I don't think he's ever going to do that, because I think majority of the teams that he's going to be at the helm of, he's going to be the but he's going to be the majority share of playmaking responsibilities. And typically, as we've seen in NBA history, the more responsibility you take on the offensive end, the less energy you're going to give on the defensive end, because you have to put so much energy towards on that side. So I think that's sort of the dilemma LaMelo's in. But as far as him as a talent, I think LaMelo has a potential to be a top 3-point guard within the next like 3 seasons.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately for LaMelo Ball, he came into the season as a rookie in 2022 with very little training camp and things of that nature. So he was basically just ushered in to be who he is, right? And they started him on the bench. So those was lost reps, even though he was able to power through that and breakthrough based on the injury of Devontae Graham. Since then, check this out, because you used James Harden as a comparison, which I thought was injustice to LaMelo. Because James Harden did have an opportunity to groom under Westbrook, Perkins, Durant, to even Serge Ibaka. So those were all stars, right? Not Perkins, but the others have been all stars. And when he went to Houston, he had free reign. Nobody was inhibitor to what James Harden wanted to do. And to verify that or validate it, James Harden just said something the other day that was quite astonishing, that he is not a system guy. He is the system. So in order for him to feel that way, the organization that ingratiated him with open arms, the Houston Rockets, gave him that kind of atonement to his ego that manifested through his character. LaMelo never had an opportunity to do that as of yet. So until LaMelo get a team built around him, that's how you can really sufficiently judge him on the kind of or the type of caliber player that most likely he's going to really develop into. And far as raising his IQ, I think LaMelo plays with a lot of IQ, but with a lot of young players, they get caught up in the whirlwind of showmanship. And we know the NBA is entertainment, and so he has to entertain. So when the Charlotte Hornets is lagging or dragging, then somebody have to entertain. Somebody have to get the crowd off their feet. Somebody have to get the crowd interested. So LaMelo goes off on these so-called transmits, which is to instill some kind of innovation in order for him to woo the crowd. Because I mean, it's Charlotte Hornets for crying out loud, casual. Like you said before, they have squandered multiple opportunities with young talent that they was not able to develop properly. So,
But can I give pushback to that? Can I give a little pushback?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. What Casual actually did is actually compared to Horton's better years offensively, and the which I I'm actually giving them kudos for, because you're comparing a All Star to a prior to hit a prior
A Hall of Famer,
player's
actually. Hard's a Hall of Famer.
MVP seasons, and you're saying it's just slightly off by 2 shots, but it is there, and it is definitely there. But the only thing where I had pushback on him was the basketball IQ, but to compare it to the MVP years, that's actually a good look, my dude. Because I wouldn't have compared it to that. I would have compared it to
Yeah,
Well,
something else. But
I wouldn't compare them to that, and I still wouldn't. And the reason why I say it's an injustice is because Harden, at the time of LaMelo right now,
hmm
was coming off the bench as a six man.
That's why I wanted
You know
to
what I'm saying?
what I
Okay,
what I
go
was
ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, Casual, go ahead.
I was comparing LaMelo's 3-point shoot volume and how well he's shooting given the volume
right.
to peak James Harden. So I figured you understood that. I just wanted to make sure that was understood with the rest of the
Yeah.
panel and the audience. I'm not saying that LaMelo currently has the potential to be as good as peak James Harden. That offensive season was one of the greatest of all time. I'm not saying that. I'm saying his shooting, given the volume in which he shoots the ball and his 3-point percentage, it has peak James Harden written on it.
Yes, right.
And
James Harden is. I understand what you're saying. Trust me, I really do. But what I'm saying is the injustice is that the context that goes along with that. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people that can chunk up a game of 3-pointers, but do they have the freedom to escape the misses? You follow what I'm saying? With James Harden, he was, like I said, he's not a system player. He is the system. LaMelo hasn't gotten to that point where he is considered the system. That's where I'm talking about. And James Harden became the system in Houston.
That's not the truth. That's not the truth. That's not the truth.
Go ahead.
Because in as far as his theory of him being the system, I would like to point to the fact that when he was playing along Mike D'Antoni, the pace that Mike D'Antoni had, not just him, the entire team playing on, benefited James Harden on what he wanted to do. Now, what he may want to do is one thing. I'm hearing an echo.
Is it me?
Buzz City.
Yeah, it was you. It was you, Perk. But what he may want to do is one thing, but what was actually going on was he was a product of a amazing system, a revolutionary system, which Mike D'Antoni ran for him. Now, do you want to argue his few games?
So you don't agree with Harden then? Casual, first of all, you don't agree with Harden what he said. That statement, you don't agree with Harden.
No, he's not a system.
All right, go ahead.
He's a very amazing basketball talent that's able to camouflage into whatever point guard the respective head coach needs him to be. Under Doc Rivers, he needed him to be a pick and roll merchant. He was able to do that. Under Mike D'Antoni, he needed him to run more ISO ball and create for himself. He was able to do that. He's basically typical. He's able to camouflage into whatever the head coach needs him to do. in that moment, and
Okay.
that's
All right. You
amazing.
just gonna agree
And it's
hard.
not.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So, but going back to Lamelo's case, Lamelo is similar to that. He is not a system. You're right, which is why the head coach is not the coach to coach Lamelo because what Steve Clifford is asking on the offensive end when Lamelo comes down court is for Lamelo to create nothing. He's able
That's
to
right.
make something out of nothing.
Playmaker.
That's not
Right.
fair to him because Lamelo he's
That's
far
true.
more talented of a point guard than just to basically tell him to assume the position. Essentially, that's not fair to him. So
Yeah.
that again, that goes
We
back to
call it
Steve Clifford.
sandlot basketball.
Yeah, basically, sell out
Yeah.
basketball.
And you know what? Casual, I agree with you, but now I gotta defend the Hornets on this one, right? But when it comes to Cliffy, of course he's not the best coach for LaMelo, he's not the best coach for the structure of that team, right? This is a team that Cliffy inherited. Um, Cliffy was not the initial choice. Remember, they wanted to get the point guard whisperer in Kenny Atkinson. And then Charlotte fumbled that, and then Kenny reneged on his commitment to the Charlotte Hornets, and the rest is history. So Cliffy is basically a fallback emergency coach. So because they got Cliffy after they drafted Mark Williams. Cliffy there wasn't even a head coach present in the Charlotte organization when they had the draft last season. That coach was hired after the draft. So basically, he inheriting whatever Mitch and Mike decided to pick up in that draft. So to be fair to Cliffy, he's got to make something out of gumbo. And these are not the type of players that he chose himself to run a system that he's trying to inculcate inside these players' head. So let's kind of be fair to Cliffy on that part. But I agree he's not the coach for the Charlotte Hornets in the future. I remember this guy named K&T who was a regular said he was a bridge coach. And I agree with that term. Never heard that term before until K&T said it. He was a bridge coach. So Cliffy is that bridge coach, and right now I think he's auditioning for an extension or he's going to be out the door.
And he's about to be out the door. I think he should be. I think the Charlotte Hornets should go for Kenny Atkinson as the head coach, as the future head coach. I think Kenny Atkinson showed with the Brooklyn Nets that given just a little bit of leeway, he could be able to elevate talent. He's very good with young talent specifically and getting them on board to play the system in which he has in place. And more importantly, he plays a brand of basketball that brings everybody into the system, not just one player. Like if you saw,
right, it's akin to winning.
Exactly.
No doubt.
If you look in Brooklyn in 2019, a lot of the eyes was put on D'Angelo Russell because of the clutch plays he was making, but it was a team effort. He had D'Angelo Russell, Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jared Allen, even what's my guy's name that ended up going to Toronto? Something, I think his name Jefferson, I believe. But he basically utilized everybody on that team. The Joe Harrises of the world got banked off of Kenny Atkinson system.
But when it comes to D'Lo also used his mid range more, and not all these threes that he's chunking up right now.
And that's where I think that Lamelo could benefit, because just because I stated that he's shooting 10 threes a game doesn't mean that that is fantastic that he's shooting like that efficiency. Doesn't mean I think that he should bank on that being sustainable. I think he should lower that number down, similar to the way Stephen Curry over the years have lowered his 3-point attempts down, giving a decent dosage of 3-point attempts to keep the defense honest, but bringing in some more of a floater game, bringing in something more of a mid-range game to be able to challenge the defense to guard you in that sense. I think another part of LaMelo's game that could end up posing like a challenge for him is the fact that the defense can be able to pack the perimeter, and it can make it difficult for him because he doesn't really have rim pressure like that.
Well, this year that's not the case with Lamelo. That I think that narrative have been broken because he's been going to the rim and being rewarded for his aggression by the referees to some degree, and he's shooting more free throws in the early part of the season than he has ever shot in his career. So I think that narrative that was sprawling all over the NBA landscape is being shattered
It's only been 6
as we
games.
speak.
It's only been 6
Yeah, that's
games.
what I'm saying. So that's my point. So within this small sample size of 6 games, casual, he has drawn the attention of the referees to the point that he is shooting way more free throws at this juncture of the season than he has ever done since he has been in the league, and he has been Rookie of the Year and All Star. So that trajectory of LaMelo Ball is moving in the right direction because I believe he paid attention to the naysayers about his ability or non-ability, however you look at it, of attacking the rim. And we're seeing that a lot right now, LaMelo attacking the rim. And when Brandon Miller gets to the point where his shots start falling, it's going to be more cookies for LaMelo at the rim because you're going to have Brandon Miller, PJ Washington, and Gordon Hayward able to stretch the floor and give more space for those attackers. And when Terry Rozier come back, he will be able to attack with much ease if he chooses to. You know, so I think that that narrative of LaMelo Ball is basically has been somewhat destroyed through the first 6 games of the season thus far.
It hasn't. The reason why it hasn't just yet is because one, it's only been 6 games, and then two, LaMelo is going to he's not necessarily going to the rim more frequently. He's just getting calls more frequently. So credit to him for being better as far as creating contact when getting to the rim.
Okay, hold on. Stop. You said something important. So let's chop that up. You said something important. You said he hasn't been going to the rim more frequently, but he's getting calls more frequently.
Yes, he's just getting calls more frequently. It's not the volume.
That's not a paradox?
Huh?
That's not a paradox to you?
What do you mean?
So you saying LaMelo is going at the rim at the same
It's the same rate.
frequency as he has been?
For the same rate that he did last year.
Okay. So if that's the case, then that narrative shouldn't be sprawling all over the NBA landscape.
What do you
Because
mean?
if he's going to the rim, when people say he don't go to the rim enough, but he's going to the rim, but he's not getting the calls, that's not on the melody, right?
I get what you're saying. That's not
Okay.
that's not the narrative. Well, one, it's not a narrative, it's a fact. The fact isn't that. Like, people don't talk about that as a fact. What we speak on, the people that's in my circle, I don't know who's in your circle. But the people that's in
Nobody.
my
I don't
circle,
have a
when we
circle.
speak about
I'm solo.
LaMelo, is his finishing success rate is putrid. It's terrible. He cannot finish around the rim on a consistent basis. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the
Now
narrative.
that's
He
okay.
gets to the rim.
Okay. Now you brought more clarity. Okay. I feel you.
Yeah.
So what you got to say about
Like,
that,
at the
Purple? Because I
rim,
know Purple is itching. Is Purple still here? Yeah. Purple, I know you itching
Yes,
when it comes to LaMelo up around that rim.
I mean, it's true though. You got to finish better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go ahead, Murdoch.
Nah, I mean, I ain't got nothing to say about it. I mean, it's true.
Oh, okay. You just enjoying the conversation. So shout out to Casual, man. Casual, you got people enjoying the content, man. You know what I'm saying? So Gemini, Gemini don't like to touch on that too much. But Purple, sure you don't want to have nothing to say?
I mean, he got some good points, man. I can't. Well, if I got an argument, I'm gonna argue that.
Right, you don't disagree. You ain't one of them type of dudes. I understand.
Yeah,
you the voice of reason.
Yeah,
No, but the bullet points was there. So I mean, what can we? The facts are the facts.
Okay.
I mean, I mean,
Hurtful's
yeah, I
kind of
mean,
silent right now.
I'm glad Lamelo's getting calls more, but he still got to finish them. I mean, we've seen some chippies that he's missed, like some couple of floaters he's missed. Got to get consistent at it. But granted, I give him a little bit of grace because he's coming back off that injury. He was like
Oh,
just
good
cleared to
point. That's a good
basketball.
point.
But so I'll give him that grace. So I'll give him October, and working himself back in game shape. And I probably give him another week or
Yeah,
two.
them
After that,
accessories should be off his ankles
after
right
that,
here.
yeah, after that, I can't give him no more grace. That's just my perspective on it. I give him
Yeah,
grace for that,
yeah.
but I'm not gonna give him no more grace. In about a week or two, I'm not gonna give him no more grace.
Okay, that's cool. Um, yeah, so that's another thing also casual that you didn't highlight is that he's coming back off injury, and you as a basketball player, I don't know if what level of basketball you achieved or if you even played basketball. I'm not sure about your history, but coming off injuries, especially on the lower extremities, sometimes you just be a little tangentially on your approach until you get a little more assurity that your lower extremities will hold up. What you think about that, Cassie?
That's a fair point. That's it.
Oh,
That's it.
yeah, I didn't hear you. Go ahead.
No,
That
that's a
was,
fair point.
oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, so yeah, listen, there's nothing wrong with critiquing the star of a team, right? Or the franchise, the face of the franchise. There's nothing wrong with that. And far too often, we get criticized if we critique that caliber of player. And a lot of mismanaging of titles get placed on us, like hater, don't know what you're talking about, you stupid, you old,
Well, but
old
Dex,
school.
hold on, Dex. No offense, my G. Before you go on that little rant, But the, when it comes to the organization, though, they literally have to do better. The new owners honestly have not put their stamp on anything yet that I have witnessed. And when it comes to the coaching, is literally is dreadful at times. I mean literally dreadful. So when it comes to things that we could easily point out, that they're so abysmal to where it shouldn't even be logical for them to even do it that way.
Yeah, I agree with Jim. And I like the way you worded that right there, abysmal. And you can't define it no other way, to be honest. I mean, I don't think anybody could have said it better. We pointed that out with the Dallas Maverick game. Here you playing a high caliber team, and on three different occasions, Cliffy initiated a coaching blunder by mixing rotation, one decent player with a bunch of G League players. And you can't get away with that with the Mavericks. I'm surprised they got away with it as long as they did until the Mavericks finally realized, like, wait a minute, man, what these people doing? They disrespecting them. You got Brandon Miller out there with Theo Maledon, JT Thor, Nick Richards, and Ish Smith. And then you take that out, and then you put Gordon Hayward in for Brandon Miller. And then you put Lamelo in for Gordon Hayward. I don't know. Oh, and Bryce McGowan. Yeah. So I don't know what Clifford was thinking that he can have such a, like you said, abysmal rotation and expect to come out favorably in as a result in that game. And like I said, I don't know for the heaven of me how in the hell he got away with that for so long during that basketball contest. against the Dallas Mavericks. Until finally they woke up and like, wait a minute, what they doing? So Clinty put back in his starting five, and the Charlotte was down by 6, and they almost came back. But like Casual pointed out, another coaching blunder with that play, that inbound play that never got an opportunity to launch off the launching pad.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I
it wasn't
think
just that. They left Williams o- open for threes when that was his signature from Boston. If you've seen it in Boston, you know what he's gonna do in Dallas. So why don't
But
you damn defend
the
it?
only thing I can say about that, which is good that you pointed out for Grant Williams, is that Gordon Hayward just can't get out there in time. So Gordon Hayward should have played middleman. You know what I mean? He should have played like a strong safety or linebacker. Gordon Hayward's out there playing like a free safety, and he doesn't have the speed to recover. So as soon as he get out of position, they shooting the ball back over to the corner, and that's the easiest place or spot on the court to hit a 3-pointer from the corner. It's the shortest distance, and Grant Williams capitalized off that. And Cliffy, once again, all the players on the court didn't adjust. They should have told Gordon Hayward to stay closer to the corner or to Grant Williams than anybody, because that's his man. Grant Williams was his man. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say this, and then I gotta go. I gotta finish this video. The reason why the Charlotte Hornets was able to have the lead before the Dallas Mavericks ultimately went on that run in the third quarter to sort of like take back control was because of the playmaking that Lamelo was doing. I heard earlier Perp was talking about how Lamelo has these games where he's sort of like not as aggressive as a scorer because he's sort of trying to like feed his teammates. In some cases, yes, you would like your star to be more aggressive. But in some cases, like in LaMelo's case, if you're so good at wagering your scoring gravity to be able to create opportunities for other players, I think you have to prioritize that first, because when it comes to these clutch time games, like LaMelo knows he's talented enough to get his shot going, right? But as far as players like Mark Williams, Brandon Miller, PJ Washington, even Nick Richards for some of the minutes he played alongside LaMelo. These players cannot create a Maladin to a certain extent. These players cannot create for their own selves because they don't have the gravity that LaMelo commands when being on the floor. So no, he has to prioritize getting them going first, similar to like a LeBron type of game style early in his career. You have to get your teammates going first, because ultimately at the end of the game, they're going to be required for you to pull this game out.
Hey, that's wonderful content right there.
Hey, I appreciate it. Hey, yo, I'm finna tap out. I gotta head out.
Okay, salute, bro. We appreciate you, no doubt.
Hey,
Come back.
Salute to you, man. Come on back, man.
Of course. Please, if you guys don't mind, if you guys could please make sure to hit the like button on here, hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, and make sure to tune in to the Hoopsters podcast. We post every Friday and Sunday. And if you could hit the subscribe button too. We're trying to hit 100 before the end of the year. So, all right, guys, you guys take care, man. Salute the flight.
Okay.
What's your channel? What's your channel again?
One more time.
The Hoopsters podcast. Hoopster. I put it in a private chat.
Yeah, do that because you're moving too fast like a used car salesman. So Hoopster podcast, you can catch him and others with in detail content. Okay, Casual, we appreciate it, bro.
Hey, appreciate it, bro. Y'all take care, man.
You too.
That's gotta be purple.
What? I didn't see him on other panels.
Yeah, that's Casual. Good looking out. And listen, let me say something. Purple, meet your mic real quick. Is that this is what Flight Sports TV is all about. See, we don't just be capping when we say the voice of the voiceless. Not that he doesn't have a voice or a platform to express his voice, but we didn't vet him. We didn't turn him over. We didn't ask him any questions. He heard the show and he felt the voices that he was hearing, that he found another place to express himself without intrepidation. And this is what we want. We want these kind of strong, opinionated, fact based, and to some degree speculative voices to be able to express themselves in a manner where they agree, disagree, or unsure of where they stand when it comes to the various content consortium on Flight Sports TV. And that's what we encourage. And that's why we want you to like the stream, to help it move through the algorithms, subscribe to the channel, and when you get the courage to come up, you're more than welcome to do so. It's an open platform, it's a meritocracy, and Flight does a lot of decentralization, which is wonderful for guys like myself. Because if I didn't come across Flight, I don't even know if I'd be up here doing what I'm doing. Because really no one else gave me that opportunity to do it. Ticket tried, but I got muzzled out at Ticket because everybody, Ticket was going back in those days. Everybody was trying to fight for the mountaintop. So DJ had Flight on, and Flight showed to be a really poised individual. And I was like, man, this is a nice poised young man, similar to what DJ was to some degree. And then I came over to the channel and I heard Uncle Vern that I hadn't seen in months. And I was like, oh shit, Uncle Vern is over here, my goodness. And I listened more and more, and I got the courage. And then Flight gave me the opportunity to come on the platform a few times, and I felt comfortable. And look, and here I am, still 2 years running, Flight Sports TV. You just never know how it starts or how it will end, but I enjoy the journey to this point. And thank you once again, Flight, for inviting me into your space and integrating me onto your platform as everybody else. So that's why I say hit the like, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you won't miss one iota of an exuberant experience here at Flight Sports TV. And if you happen to feel a little gifted, if out of God touch your heart or whatever, something good is just happening for you and you just want to share and expand your blessing, you can hit the super chat, you can hit the PayPal, and definitely hit the Cash App at Flight Sports TV if you're feeling a little gifty. And that generosity will go a long way here at Flight Sports TV as you become a brick in the wall, building something great, extravagant, and exuberant. Shout out to everybody on the panel. Let's continue. So, Murgod, we heard Big Al, we heard Casual. What is your assessment of the Charlotte Hornets in the first 6 games, albeit a small sample size?
All right. So my assessment has been this in the team. I think the biggest glaring issues that I've seen of Charlotte, just my assessment is, I like their trajectory, especially with the young core. I think some of the veterans are in the way, but I think the team, it just lacks depth right now coming off the bench. And also, just like the casual pointed out, Steve Clifford is just not the best coach, especially on the offensive end, to maximize his players and get them in the best position to win games, like you saw that against the Mavericks. So I think basically a lot of things can be cleaned up. I think some players like Lamelo just had a slow start because he's coming off an injury. But you see that he's starting to get his feet up under him and starting to feel good about himself. starting to trust himself, trust his body, coming off that injury and being able to find his footing. So I expect to see more games like that going forward with more consistency. Um, I also basically like the trajectory of the young players like Mark Williams, second year. He's been great, had a few up and down games, but overall he's been great leading the league in field goal percentage. He's been a great pick and roll partner with Lamelo as we expected. He's been basically amazing around the rim. So as well as when he has had the opportunity to deter shots, he's been excellent at it when he's been in the paint to deter shots or to block them. So he's been a great presence on the defensive end. The only knock on Mark Williams, I would say, I would like for him to be a little bit tougher on the boards. That's something I want him to improve on right there going forward. But I think he can improve on that. PJ has been great. I have really no complaints about PJ. I think that the early shooting was from the 3-point line. I want him to step that up, and I want him to rebound more. But I love his aggressiveness on the offensive end, as well as something that surprised me. I love his tenacity and his fortuitousness to assist or help out his young player, i.e., Brandon Miller, especially with Big Stu was coming at him, and he stepped up for his young rookie, to take that light off of him and put that on his shoulders. So much respect to PJ for doing that, and I got a lot of respect for PJ for doing that. So I look forward for him to continue to get better. Want to rebound better, want to shoot better, but I think that comes as the season goes along. Gordon Hayward, kind of wish he'd come off the bench, but he's been all right so far. He's just, as he always is, he's just steady hand. Hopefully he stays healthy and just be steady for the team. 15 points, some good percentages. That's about all he's going to give you. So as long as he's doing that, he's fine. But I would like for him to put a little bit more effort on the defensive end. Like that's really my knock of hell personally. I want him guard, but hey, thug it out to excuse me. They gotta thug it out to Terry. The thing with Terry is granted he has some times where he's looked good, but I want him basically to stop. I guess you want to say stop doing so much ISO ball so much. So, but overall on the team, I like the trajectory. They started off kind of slow with the lack of energy. I think those 3 days off helped the team to try to get some morale back into it, and they've been playing with more intensity the last couple of games. So hopefully they can keep that up, keep that same intensity up, play hard against the Wizards, see if they can get a win. But so far, they just dropped some easy ones. But I think they can definitely right the ship. They got a pretty decent schedule going for the next couple of games. Hopefully they can win 2 games back to back against the Wizards. And so that's my point going forward.
Yeah, I just have one question for you, Murdoch. That was beautiful. So, you said they dropped a few easy games. What teams were easy to you that the Hornets should have beaten?
Let me go check out. Well, the Brooklyn Nets. I felt like they could have won that game against the Nets. They just came out flat. So because I don't think the Nets. When I looked at them, and plus you got to also equate to the Melo didn't shoot well that night. So if the Melo shoots well that night, that makes up the difference, and they win that game. See what I'm saying? So I felt like that was a game they could have won right there. Basically, the Mavericks. That game last night, the other night against the Mavericks.
The optimal word was easy. Because you said easy games, they dropped a few easy games. So do you mean easy meaning that they were, they was trending on winning that particular game, not that coming into that game, it was an easy game?
I'm particularly basically
because I would only think maybe Detroit. Maybe Detroit was probably their only easy game prima facie. But Houston Rockets.
The
No, that's not an
the
easy game.
Rockets. I
But that's
think
really
I
not an
think
easy
I
game.
think I think that's a game. I think that's a game they should have
Good
beat.
coach, good players. They're just trying to find their niche.
I don't think they're that. I don't think they're that much better than Charlotte. I don't think nobody on
Oh,
the team
okay.
is even better than. I don't think even nobody on the team is even better than Melo. Not even close.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Okay,
they should
Houston.
have
Okay,
beat.
then we'll
They
give
should.
you Houston.
They Houston, and they should have beat the Pistons. Nobody's
So
on the
basically,
Pistons is
Houston
better.
and Detroit.
In Houston and Detroit, I don't even think nobody on the Nets is better than Melo.
Yeah, but the Nets are a playoff team.
I mean, they are. I mean, they're all right.
No, they're a playoff team. They did not a play in.
Dex,
Yeah, you see what I'm
Dex,
saying? That's the same
they
team from
are
last season.
Dex, Dex,
But
they
Dex,
should
you're
have punished them in the middle because the Nets are
exactly,
small. So
Yeah,
exactly,
actually, that is a game that the Hornets should have
and
won.
also, and also too, Dex.
I
Before
don't
you go, and
agree with
also
that right
too,
there.
hold, and Dex, and also too,
That's
Dex.
fine.
A lot of their wins last year came from when KD and Kyrie was there. You
I
know,
know. Now hold on. That,
they kind of tailed off at the end a little bit after basically Kyrie and
they
KD
went.
left
They
that
went.
team.
They still. I think they still played over 50% basketball after KD and Kyrie departed. Like
They
one or
were
two
they
games over
they were
500
at
or something.
yeah, they were average basically.
Yeah,
So
but
basically,
that makes the
yeah, I
playoffs,
don't think
right? Average makes the
yeah.
playoffs.
But that's the
If you
thing
look
is
at
like if you keep that same Nets team basically,
for a
and they
full
were
season, for a
average,
full season,
yeah, for a full season, that lets you know they average. That lets you know they barely make the playoffs. Meaning
but
meaning basically that hold on, Dex. Meaning basically that they're probably a playing team. So really, are they that much better than Charlotte? They're
yeah, I
not
think they
really.
are. I think they are.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think they're that much better than Charlotte,
Nah, the Nets is better than Charlotte.
especially, especially since
Detroit, you got to argue.
hold on, especially since you got Lamelo who didn't shoot well that night because, like you said, he's still working himself back in game shape. If Lamelo goes off on them, as well as you got Brandon Miller who played decent, some other players on the team that play defense. What was this point swing? The point swing was only like eight points, right? So you got Lamelo, he drops 25. That makes the
Yeah, that's
difference.
good. 25
Yeah,
is good,
so
and he
basically what
still
I'm saying
lost.
is that, but the thing is, Lamelo also didn't play well.
Okay, but
You
that's
see
my
what I'm saying?
point.
But
That's my
that's
point.
also
Full circle.
but that's also my point. I don't if Lamelo plays well, I think they win that game.
Okay, you don't think he played well that game?
No, he didn't. He didn't
Oh,
shoot
okay,
well.
okay. But isn't that kind of responsible for Brooklyn for not allowing Melo to shoot well to have somebody constantly in his chest?
I say partially, but you could also, like we talked about early on the stream, that Lamelo basically also is coming back from injury. It's a little rusty.
No,
I don't
like I
think.
said, I
I
give
don't
you
think.
that.
I don't think. I don't think nobody on the Brooklyn Nets is really scaring Lamelo. Like you don't like. Dex, I think you're. I think basically, I get it. You're talking about the Brooklyn Nets, but Dex, I don't. And you're a big Lamelo Ball fan. I don't think nobody on the team puts fear in Lamelo. I just think he's just rusty.
No, I'm not contesting that. I'm contesting the team versus team. You know what I'm saying?
And I
Because
and I get what you on that.
uh,
I just think that the team came out flat. They just allow some easy open 3-point shots, and they just were uncontested. But you
but
see the change.
that's the tell
But
of
you
the
see
tape
the
when it comes to Charlotte, Murdoch.
yeah. But
You
but
can't
the
get
thing
around
is,
it.
yeah. But I think that you saw the difference basically in the Pacers game as well as in the Mavericks game. So I think basically that if they play with that same intensity that game, I think it's a even much more closer game, and it can probably pull that out. That's why I said I don't think basically. That's why I said I don't think basically that much better than Charlotte. I think that basically, Charlotte was just really on a bad off night.
Charlotte lost to teams that played better defense than them. And that is an outcry for the Hive right now. Is that Charlotte has to find a way to beat teams that ratchet up the intensity on the defensive end, i.e., Brooklyn Nets, Houston
So
Rockets, Detroit Pistons. These are high octane defensive fronts that the Charlotte faced and didn't overcome.
so when I look at this, so I got the Pistons, I got the Rockets, and I got the so the Pistons over the Rockets for sure. So I got them basically as two games that Charlotte definitely should have beat them. Now I
Yeah,
agree that the
I
Nets would
say
have been a
Pistons, but
yeah,
not so much Rockets. I think Rockets is a much
man,
better team than their record indicates, and
man,
they're going
I
to
don't
show
think
that.
they're
The Rockets going to show that.
I don't think they're that much better. I don't think they're that much better than Charlotte. So
And, and
I do think they got a good coach though. But I don't
they
think
got
as
a
far
damn
as
good coach.
talent
What you mean? You think they got a
talent
good
wise,
coach? Come on, Murga, don't do that now.
I mean I said they
I
got a
think
good
they
coach. I
got a
said they
good
got
coach.
yeah,
You said I
yeah,
think they got a good coach. So you saying you're not sure? That's what I'm getting from you. You're not sure he's a good coach.
he's a good coach.
Okay, thank you.
Dang, Dex. That's what you wanted, Dex. All right.
I mean, but
All right,
that's
Dex.
the honest to God truth. The guy's an excellent coach. He's a superb coach,
Yeah, he's a
and he
good
know how
coach.
to work young talent.
He's a good coach, man. He's a good coach. But just keep his hands out the cookie jar for a little. But he's a good
Right? Yeah,
coach.
keep his hand out the cookie jar. I agree with you right there. So, but
but
Gemini was trying to introduce something. Gemini, your mic hot? Gemini, Gemini still here? Oh, Gemini gone. Yeah. So
yeah,
I just feel that Detroit was a very winnable game. It's just that the Charlotte Hornets wasn't prepared to receive that level of intensity on the defensive end. They didn't think Detroit was going to play them that way because that was their first look at Detroit under the dictates of Monte Williams, and they got a taste of it. And I think they got hit in the mouth and they didn't recover. And those young Detroit boys just, smelt blood in the water and just start feasting. But I just think that Houston Rockets might be a tad bit better than the Charlotte Hornet as a team. Um, they do have,
if you wanna say that, Dex, I can give you that. But I still think that was definitely a winnable game.
yeah, of course it's a winnable game because anytime a team comes in, 0-3 at the time, hadn't won, then you have to stump on their confidence because there's a lot of uncertainty amongst the players when it comes to continuity. And so if that is the case, Charlotte has more continuity because that team been together for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
As a core, not Mark Williams, not Brandon Miller, but as a core, that team been together 4 years. Terry, Melo, Gordon, PJ, right? And you would think that that amount of continuity should beat a team that's just coming together and having congealed to the point where they consider themselves winners. And I thought Charlotte could take advantage of that because I had Charlotte in that game. And if I was going to lay any chalk on that, I was going to lay the chalk on Charlotte. Thank God I didn't lay no chalk because I would have been pissed, because Charlotte did come in as a favorite, albeit a small favorite, like 2-point favorite, something like that. But yeah, so, it is what it is. And that's where I think coaching came in, and coaching adversely affected the Charlotte Hornets more than it did the Houston Rockets in that game. So that's how I felt about that, my God.
I got you.
Now, the Brooklyn game, I think Brooklyn is a better team, but you contest me on that. That's cool. I think Brooklyn is a better team, and I think Brooklyn is coached with a defensive mindset as well. And these are the kind of teams so far in this early version of the season the Charlotte Hornets have trouble with. They don't respond well when other members of the opposition gets into their chest and become part of their jersey. They just don't respond well on that. You know, Charlotte have always been somewhat of a finesse team. And I think that they need to huddle up and get their knees dirty. Pause.
I
Or
got
else
you.
most
I got you.
yeah, or else most teams going to push them around. And if you get a nasty reputation of being beatable based on being pushed around, then everybody's going to come. They come inside your silo, or you go to their den of death. They're going to have the same formula against you until you're able to break that curse that you can win a basketball game while being pushed around. You can win a basketball game 94-91. I know they won a close ball game against the Indiana Pacers, but that was in the hundreds. So it wasn't really nobody pushing nobody around. That's when you know Charlotte has turned the corner. In order for them to do that, in my personal opinion, it's inevitable that the Charlotte Hornets start looking and prying those kind of players away from their current team and location. You have to have those janitors. You have to have those maintenance men. You have to have those highway workers. You have to have those carpenters in order for you to win with less talent. And I don't see that the Charlotte Hornets are currently constructed that way where you can say they're getting it out the mud. If other teams don't come, relax, and play finesse basketball like the Charlotte Hornets, it's going to be very difficult for the Charlotte Hornets to come out of that contest with a win, according to my observation. And that's only from a small sample size of 6 games. But when you see a trend repeating itself, most likely that is what it is. Because you don't see feathers on a pig. So if it quacks like a duck, and it flaps like a duck, and it walks like a duck, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's a duck. So according to those trends, the Charlotte Hornets have to play a little tougher from the shoulders down and definitely play tougher from the shoulders up. My God.
I got you. I got you on that, Dex.
Now, has anything surprised you in the NBA this early season, Murdoch?
Uh, Surprised me. Well, I mean, I say one surprise. I mean, I knew the potential of Victor and what he could do. I didn't know he was gonna be that good. Like he's playing like he could probably be an all-star his rookie year. So, which he might be due to the voting and on top of it as well. it's not that many centers in the league, anyways, especially in the West. Like, what other center besides Jokic is very, I guess, would be prominent in the West besides Jokic?
So you don't see Anthony Davis giving him any
I
hard night
mean,
sleep?
Anthony Davis, is he a center or is he a power forward?
Oh, okay. But they got him. They penciled him as a center. So he fluctuates. He fluctuates.
I mean, I see him more as a power forward, just playing center. But I get your point. But besides them two, who else?
Yeah, it's not really much to talk about from that position in the West.
Exactly. It's because it's funny. Because like, I don't know if you probably heard this too, but I think Kenny talked about it on TNT one time. How Hakeem Olajuwon said that they used to have that he could have basically nights where he can rest because there's not that many centers in the league. Whereas there's so many guards or point guards, you don't get a night off. You have to come at a point guard every night. So it's not that really, it's less centers than it was back then. So yeah, I think Wemby could be the All-Star this first year.
If he keeps trending in that direction, definitely. And
Yeah, most definitely.
who been an All-Star their first year? Can you remember a rookie been an All-Star their first year?
Not that I know of. Only one I could think of was
What
maybe Derrick
about
Rose. No, I don't think Derrick Rose was All-Star. He was All-Star
no,
second.
maybe Yao Ming. He probably might have been the only rookie All-Star in history. But somebody can correct me on that. But if I recollect, I think maybe Yao Ming. Because you don't really get All-Stars in your rookie season. They don't. The NBA don't play that. They feel you have to earn your stripes, pay your dues. But that would be fascinating if Victor Wembanyama becomes an All-Star his first year. That's definitely transcendent.
It was the last one was Blake Griffin, but he
Blake
technically-
Griffin. Okay.
Yeah, the last one was Blake Griffin.
Why you say
In
technically?
2011.
Because Blake Griffin really was a sophomore his rookie season.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. He really was a sophomore because that injury.
Okay. So Blake Griffin was the last one, the latest rookie who makes
Yeah.
the All-Star.
So yeah, and then I think the last one before him was Tim Duncan.
Oh, I didn't know Tim Duncan made the All-Star his rookie season. See, I didn't even know that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. Okay. Tim Duncan, Blake Griffin. So that means Spurs could have. Go ahead.
No, I take that back. So you were correct. It's Blake Griffin, then Yao Ming, then Tim Duncan, then Grant Hill, Shaquille O'Neal, then Mutombo, then David Robinson, Patrick Ewing. Michael Jordan was an All-Star his rookie year. Hakeem Olajuwon, Ralph Sampson, Isaiah Thomas.
Okay. So it's not as rare as I thought.
Yeah, it's not as rare. Typically the players is in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I forgot about
Shaq. Typically if you make like I'm reading this list, majority of these players are on this list are in the Hall of Fame.
Yep, Hall of Fame. Yep.
Yeah, like you got Rick Barry, Wes Unseld, Evan Hayes, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Kareem, like Willis Reed, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. like this list is deep, bro.
Man, that's a deep list, huh?
It's a deep list, man. Elgin Baylor, of course, Will Chamberlain.
Wow.
Jerry West, like these are rookies in the All Star year, man. That's a deep list to be on right there,
Mm. What about Doug Collins? Didn't make that list?
man. Nah, Doug Collins
No. Okay.
Nah, he ain't on there.
Man, that's a deep list right there. That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
Shout
Yeah,
out to Hornets.
yeah, man. Like Grant Hill on this list. I didn't even know Grant Hill was All Star year.
What about Jason Kidd? Jason Kidd and Grant Hill was co-rookies of the year.
Yeah, Jason Kidd ain't on the list.
Hey, how did Grant Hill make the All-Star and Jason Kidd did make co-rookies of the
I
year?
don't.
Grant Hill
I
had,
don't know.
maybe he had a go ahead.
Grant Hill might have tailed off at the end. And Jason
Yeah,
Kidd
probably
kind of
so. Huh? Yeah,
maybe picked it
yeah.
up, so that could have been the case right there. So, but yeah, Grant Hill made it. Grant Hill made it. So, and then basically, like I didn't even know Tim Duncan made it. Like, what are the
I
odds?
didn't either.
Look, but look at it. But look at his list deck. You look at the Spurs deck. Look at the Spurs. They get generational big men that do it. First David Robinson, then Tim Duncan, and possibly Victor Wembanyama. That's crazy, man.
Yep. Yep.
I swear, man. When they and didn't I tell you that because I was in this stream? I said, watch the Spurs get big. I said that.
Yep.
I said it. Watch the Spurs get big.
You said it. You said it, and it was somebody else. Was it Sky? I think made Sky also. Because y'all said this Spurs would get the number one pick. I thought Houston would get the number one pick or Detroit. I was going with Houston and Detroit. And Flight was going with Charlotte.
Listen, the Spurs.
It was somebody else. Who was it? Was it somebody in the chat? Thunder or
I don't know.
Rap God? It was one of them in the chat that was screaming Spurs will get the number one pick, and they picking Victor because of his connection with Tony Parker. I think that might have been Rap God.
Man, I
one of the two.
Anytime, I think it was because of the international connection. I think also too basically because of Victor's stardom. I think they basically kind of want to make him the face of the NBA, so they didn't want to mess that one up. I think 3, basically, they wanted to do Papa favor going out. I think 4, basically too, that anytime it's a generation of big men and the Spurs are bad, they always gift it to the Spurs. Every single time. What was David Robinson coming out? They said generational big man. What was Tim Duncan coming out? They said generational big man. Not Victor, generational big man. It always goes
Popovich is the originator of the process, right?
Yeah, literally.
He's the originator of the process. Not Michael Colangelo. It's Popovich. He a tank. He had no problem tanking. Pop something else, man.
Literally, man. Popovich.
85 million strong this year.
Exactly, man. So it was inevitable. Victor was going to the Spurs. It was inevitable. They were going to do Papa solid, and send him on his way, fresh in retirement, basically on a hot. And he'll probably within the next 3 years, he'll get. I think in the next 3 years, especially with that young team, they go in the right direction, because I think they will. They'll probably be competing for a ring in the next 2 years.
So then that means they're ahead of schedule.
Yeah, they're ahead of schedule because Dex. They're ahead of schedule because Victor's ahead of schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why. That's why. It's just like with the Spurs with Tim Duncan. You know what set them over the edge for them to get that ring? Because Tim Duncan was ahead of schedule.
Yep, I agree.
And they used to run that double lineup between David Robinson and Tim Duncan. It wasn't no scoring in the paint. They were just down there blocking everything. Give me that. Defense was They're probably one of the best defensive teams basically in the NBA we've ever seen. Especially down low
Yeah,
and playing with the amount of block shots
yeah, yeah,
that year, man. They won that ring
yeah,
that year. So it was crazy, man. But go ahead, Dex.
yeah. Nah, yeah. That's going down memory lane, and that's very nostalgia content right there. And I was just kind of drifting, just reminiscing off that.
Yeah, man.
Um,
They play physical that year. They played physical old school basketball. It was no buckets in the paint on them. None. If you got a layup, you earn that layup.
yeah. The only Achilles heels for the Spurs would have been the Lakers, probably. Because see, the
Yeah, but I
Spurs didn't
think
play the Lakers in that playoff in
yeah,
that playoff run.
but I think also too that year too. I don't think Kobe was Kobe.
No,
I don't think
no,
they had Shaq. They had Shaq, but Kobe wasn't
yeah,
Kobe
no,
because that's
yeah.
what set them apart when Kobe became Kobe. Once Kobe became him, then basically that allowed Shaq to elevate his game more because now you have to guard on the perimeter and Shaq can eat now in the paint and you ain't got to sag off and everybody can sag on Shaq. So that helped him out. Once Kobe became that guy that Shaq needed.
Hmm. Yeah. And Dennis Rodman kind of messed over the Lakers that season as well. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he was part of the team, and for some reason, Dennis Rodman decided to come to LA and lounge and do crazy stuff, and they end up, letting him go. Remember? Because I think
I
he was
remember.
disrespecting Kurt Rambis, and so Jerry Buss like, you ain't gonna disrespect Superman. The OG Superman, Kurt Rambis. A lot of people forget about that. He's the OG Superman, Clark Kent. But so Dennis Rodman, he was a Laker. He was doing good. The Lakers went on a 10-game win streak for Rambis when they picked up Dennis Rodman that season, and then Dennis Rodman to start, being Dennis Rodman. And that was just a little too much for the young Lakers to be influenced with that kind of bad behavior and illicit antics.
Hey Dex, man, in that year, because what year did they win it? They won in the 19. They
99.
won in they won in the 98, 99 year. So yeah, Tim Duncan himself averaged 2.5 blocks a game.
Wow. The big fundamental,
Yeah, he
that's what
was.
Shaq called it.
Yeah, Tim Duncan averaged 22 points a game and about 11 and a half rebounds a game.
Yeah. And plus, I think that was a shortened season, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I
Yeah.
think they went on strike and then they came back. And then the Spurs was relentless. And the
Yeah, they
Lakers had
played
to
50.
deal with that damn Utah Jazz veteran team. And Utah Jazz was just running circles around that young Lakers team.
hmm Yeah. Yeah, they was a young team. And they played 50 games that
Yeah. And Sean Elliott, he was very pivotal to Arizona Wildcat legend, Sean Elliott, because he was stretching the floor. And that was kind of a new formula for the NBA, if you can remember.
year.
How they used Sean Elliott to stretch the floor. He was that 3D guy, 3D guy. I don't know if Pop invented that. I'm not sure. But Sean Elliott was that 3D guy, and Bruce Bowen patterned his game around Sean Elliott. But Bruce Bowen couldn't shoot the three like Sean Elliott does. But Sean Elliott gave so much extra space for the Twin Towers underneath David Robinson and Tim Duncan to operate in, by him being that 3-point shooter, as well as Vinny Negro. People forget about Vinny, the original Mono Ginobili. And Vinny Negro was something to deal with. The North Carolina State standout Coach under Jimmy Bavano. I'm quite sure you know who that is, Merg guy.
Mhm.
You know, you get the Jimmy V Classic because of him. So that Spurs team was very well equipped, well coached, and
Yeah.
the scheme that they was putting out on that court was kind of new. It was innovative when you look at it. Then he operating in that mid range area. John Elliott shooting the three and D, and then you had the
Yep.
two monsters down underneath manning the paint.
Yep.
That was a
Yeah. Was it
crazy
Avery?
Spurs team.
Was it Avery Johnson on the team too, running point?
Yeah, Avery Johnson, point guard. Yep. But Avery couldn't shoot. He's a good playmaker, but he couldn't shoot. And Avery will attest to that his job was to make sure he gave Duncan and Robinson a clean pass.
Yep, that was his job. Play defense and get them the ball.
Yeah.
So
Avery
yeah,
Johnson.
and I looked at Kobe's stats too. Kobe was in that 98-99 shortened season. He was 20 points a game.
That's nice though, because that was Kobe's second year in the league, so that's nice.
Now that was his third.
96, 97. Okay, yeah, third. Yep, third.
Mhm. Yeah, and like his first year was 7.6. He was a rookie that year. Next year he was 15.4. And I think that's the year where they kicked Eddie Jones. They removed Eddie Jones off the team. And I think that's his third year is really when he took off.
They was already convinced. Okay, yeah. We can take the training wheels off now.
Yeah,
Because Eddie Jones was his training wheel.
He made the All-Star game his second year.
Who? Talking about Kobe?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember the Lakers was didn't they have like 4 All-Stars? Eddie,
Mm-hmm.
Kobe,
Mm-hmm.
Van Exel, and Shaq. They
Yep.
had 4 All-Stars that year on that team.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it was young. That's why they knew the Lakers was coming, because they was young for 4 All-Stars.
Yep. Yep.
They were kids.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then that's when basically Kobe took off. Kobe took off from there. He did not miss the All-Star game. He only missed in his let me see. Because how many seasons Kobe played? 19?
19 or 18.
No, he played 20. He played 20.
Oh, he played 20?
Yeah, he played 20 seasons. So in his 20 seasons, he only missed 2 All-Star games.
Are they counting the season that he set out? They counting that season as well? Or are they just counting? Okay, because he's still a member of the Lakers. Okay.
Yeah, they count that season too.
So I think LeBron James and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar have the record for consecutive All-Star appearance. And if LeBron James make the All-Star this year, he will pass the captain of the most consecutive All-Star appearance all time. And that's 19 or 20. Is it 20? And this year be 21? Or is it 19 and this year be 20? I think, 19. Because LeBron didn't make the All-Star as a rookie.
You said, repeat that again, Dex?
I said LeBron James didn't make the All-Star as a rookie. That's the only season he was not an All-Star.
Yeah, that's the only season,
So this is his 21st season. So that means he's been to the All-Star 19 straight times, which is a record tied with the captain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, he makes it this year. He'll pass him. Which
So that's
more than
a lot
likely, but which more than likely, he making it this year.
Oh, he's making All-Star. No, LeBron's making All-Star. You can forget that. They gonna vote him. LA gonna vote him in. You know what I'm saying? They gonna definitely vote him in. If nobody else vote him in, LA gonna vote him in. From the way he's playing, even though the Lakers record is not, you know, a shining spot in this season, but LeBron is playing good. Well, not good. He's playing exceptionally well at the age of 38, 39, whatever that his age is. And he's still capable of putting up a 30-piece. But that would take a lot out of LeBron if he continuously to shoot for the 30s. And he knows that. He probably won't make the season without an injury. But yeah, LeBron is still dunking. You see how he dunking the other day against Miami, even though they lost the game? LeBron still running down blocked shots from behind. He took Tyler Hero down. He was going for a dunk, and LeBron came and cuffed it from behind. So that his athleticism is still there, and that's superb in itself. For him to be this athletically equipped at the age that he is, that's astonishing. That is astonishing for any athlete to be this athletic at the ripe old age. I mean, you would think that LeBron would be a rotten plum by now. And that's far from the case. So that's crazy for LeBron James to endure at a high level for this long. And he should be commended for that, Murdoch.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you this right here. When you talk about that Spurs team, Popovich had them so well mannered that Popovich himself had a secretive cheat code. Because no matter who he put in the game, they was going to perform. And the way that he scouted his talent and had some draft picks that people thought, like, who is that, right? He always come out with a jewel. It didn't matter where Popovich picked because he had eyes on players nobody else had eyes on. So it didn't matter where he picked. He still was going to get his player.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fascinating. It's only when Popovich start buying into more American players is when he got his hiccup. Because the American players, they don't buy into all the threats. See, Popovich will threaten you. What country you from? I'll take your green card. You can't do that with an American player. My green card? You got no green card, man. I barely got a driver's license. So there was no intimate domain when it comes to American players. You can't crash them down because you want to build a freeway through the neighborhood. You can't crash them down like that. So he didn't have much success with American players that had some visibility to them and had somewhat of a heightened profile. Now, you can get an American player that's trying to make his way, but if he had any visibility to you, Popovich wasn't that successful, and that's where his hiccup came. And so it seemed like he realized this and broke it all down and started over, and look what he got. Look what he got. So he found Keldon Johnson. He found Devin Vassell. And now he got Victor Wembanyama. So that Spurs scouting unit is top notch.
Mm-hmm.
Even Zach Collins, nobody didn't look at Zach Collins like that. Look how he's playing. He's a double-double every night for the San Antonio Spurs. And it's a quiet double-double.
Mm-hmm.
So that's crazy how the San Antonio Spurs stay afloat, you know? That's crazy. But like you said, the Hornets, they just, to me, I just feel they have to really boggle down and look themselves in the mirror and assess themselves honestly through introspection. Because how far you think you're going to go if you don't hunker down defensively and respond appropriately and timely when other teams hunker down defensively against you. So the Charlotte Hornets don't have to answer that question to satisfy the Hive. Because right now, the Hive got they're looking like that emoji that has its chin placed between the thumb and the index finger, looking inquisitive, looking for some assurance that the question, not only will it be given attention, but a solidified answer, my God.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what is the Hive is hinged on. Can the Hornets answer the bell? And go on some win streaks. Because look at those boys up in the Pacific Northwest, the Portland Trailblazers. I think they might have lost their last game. I'm not for sure because they was losing badly when I checked. But they went on a 3-game winning streak already. They already have a 3-game winning streak. Detroit, I think, have a 3-game winning streak. The Rockets on a 2-game winning streak. Orlando already had a 4-game winning streak. So there are lesser teams that the Hornets was once above in the standings that seem to have surpassed the Charlotte Hornets in stature. So they got to answer that bell, and they got to answer that bell ASAP. They do have 2 wins on the season, and it looked like they was headed for their 3rd win, and that was going to be their first win streak of the season, attaching 2 or more wins together consecutively. And they fell short because they lost the war of attrition when it came to the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks is a well-constructed team. They are tied for the best record in the Western Conference. So they are top the West. And you know the West is a gauntlet right now. And everybody is chasing the Denver Nuggets, of course. And the Denver Nuggets is leading the school of fishes in the Western Conference. And the Charlotte Hornets had that game. It was weighing in the balance. Murgod, they let it slip through their fingers. And you're not going to get that many opportunities to beat high caliber teams such as the Dallas Mavericks with two perennial all-stars and top 15 players in the whole NBA.
We're about to get up out of here, Dax.
Yes, sir. Flight salute, bro.
Shout out Dax, shout out Murgod. Peace and love to you all. Pull up tomorrow. We got a hell of a game. It's Flight Sports.
Flight Sports TV, man. That's my dude. I rolls with him.
You heard what the man said. It's Flight Sports TV.